Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. We're doing our Who Stepped Up, Who Stepped Back Hot Topic Sound Off episode 2614. The engines were loud, the stakes were higher, and if this past weekend showed us anything, it's that the 2026 season is starting to separate the best from the rest. Welcome to Hot Topic Sound Off as we break down a packed motorsports weekend across the NASCAR Cup, O'Reilly and Truck Series, along with the ARCA East and ARCA West Series. Everything started on Friday night under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway, where the Truck Series delivered a mix of strategy, survival, and late race intensity. Saturday turned into a coast-to-coast showcase. The NASCAR O'Reilly Series battled it out deep in the heart of Texas. Then it was the ARCA East and ARCA West Series short track grit at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and Shasta Speedway. And then came Sunday. The NASCAR Cup Series didn't just put on a race, they delivered a statement. Big names, bold moves, and a kind of drama that reminds you of why this sport thrives under pressure. Across all 5 races, we saw momentum swings, breakout performances, and drivers either rising to the occasion or letting it slip away when it mattered most. So the question now becomes, who's building a championship run? Who's already playing catch-up? This is Fan for Racing Radio. Let's sound off on NASCAR and ARCA's Hot Topics. Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me tonight is Jay Huseman. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you, Sharon. Everything you had on there in the monologue was on point. A lot of action happening throughout the weekend across NASCAR and ARCA Menards series. Some a little surprising, some we expected, but we got a lot to talk about tonight.
We surely do, and only 2 hours to do so. Hunter Blazer is here. Hi, guys, he says. Hi, Hunter. It's good to have you here. Hopefully we'll have some of our other regulars showing up here in a little while. Always appreciate Hunter and the other guys that comment. So if you want to comment on any of our hot topics, we do have a live chat available. So feel free to add your insights and thoughts about what we're talking about. Jay, we're going to start out with the NASCAR Truck Series that raced on Friday night. And let's go to the winner's circle for that race. You know, one thing I noticed, Jay?
What's that?
We had all Cup Series winners this week, starting with Carson Hocevar in the Truck Series.
Ah, well, that is true. That is true.
Okay. He stayed hot. He wins in overtime after his first Cup Series victory last weekend. He led a race-high 76 laps and took control when it mattered most. The win marks the first Truck Series win of this season, and it continues a major momentum surge across NASCAR Series. We are going to go over our race results here, but the big picture is Hocevar is becoming one of the biggest threats across all the series, actually.
Yeah, and again, he was on our list of possible winners. He's won in the Truck Series before he moved up to the Cup Series. We know what Spire Motorsports, who took over for Kyle Busch Motorsports, is capable of. So this wasn't a surprise. What I liked, and I think I kind of had it as a different hot topic, and I'll touch on it later with another driver, but it was clean racing. It was great, side by side, back and forth, and clean racing. I'm not saying there weren't any accidents or incidences, but it was overall very clean. And Hocevar is one of those, can be aggressive. He played well, and he got the win. I like it.
There's All Sports All Day. He says, ARCA East 5 out of 10, ARCA West 5 out of 10. I suspect I know why. Truck Series 8 out of 10, O'Reilly 7 out of 10, Cup 6 out of 10. So that's All Sports All Day's rankings. Let's go ahead and cover our race results here for the Net Craftsman Truck Series. Carson Hocevar, one thing I will say about the race, Jay, is I thought it was an exciting race to watch throughout. And you're right, these guys really showed some skill on the track and kind of put a spotlight on the Truck Series for that fact. Carson Hocevar actually won this race. He didn't gain any points because he's not a regular in the series. His win margin was 0.730 thousandths of a second, and he led 76 laps on the night. It was Carson Hocevar battling out with his teammate Kyle Busch from Spire Motorsports, the 1-2 finish for that organization. Caden Honeycutt in third place, Brandon Jones finishing fourth, Ben Rhodes in fifth, Lane Riggs finished sixth, and it was Daniel Hemrick, Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, and Chandler Smith finishing the top 10 finishes here. It was a nice mix, I think, here of both the Cup Series regulars that came into the series. Even Brandon Jones came over for the O'Reilly Series. But we had a nice mix between those guys and the Truck Series regulars.
Absolutely. And there's a little bit of different pit strategies. You saw Kyle Larson. I know they talked about it on TV, being a good teammate, being Hocevar had helped him back in Atlanta, kind of returning that favor. And again, it was just clean racing. I know one did get kind of shuffled out, but overall, like I said, and then Sharon, you pointed out that mixture of these Cup guys coming into this series. Yes, they were in there, but they didn't dominate it, or in this case, Hocevar did take the win, but they didn't dominate it. Although statistically, Carson Hocevar led 5 times for 76 laps, but you saw a mixture of them up front, and part of that was some pit strategy. Ben Rhodes led 1 time for 41 laps, looked a little stronger early in stage 1, came back to finish 5th after starting on the pole. He got shuffled back through pit stops and some strategy. So I thought it was. You saw some drivers, I think you kind of mentioned it, starting to turn their tide of their season around. Had a couple, though, that theirs is headed in the wrong direction.
Well, All Sports All Day says Kyle Busch was down and out and then came back to second. So happy. And to think a decade ago, I'd be pissed if he'd finished second in trucks. And Hunter had a comment. He says, got lucky cashing a bet with Carson. He wouldn't have won it. With Carson, he wouldn't have won it if it wasn't for that late caution. Okay. So
yeah. The unknown. Yeah, it's an unknown. I can't argue it either way, but again, that's what leads to great racing, is that you don't know until the checkered flag flies.
That is true. Parker Kligerman in the 25 finished in 11th. Ross Chastain, another one of the Cup guys, finishing in 12th. So they beat some really good drivers here. William Sawalich had that 17th place finish. Dawson Sutton up in 16th. Tyler Ankrum in 15th. Stuart Friesen had that 19th place finish. Minnie Tyrell, another Ram truck, in 14th. Spencer Boyd, I got to do a shout out for him, in 20th here. Frankie Munoz with the 23rd place finish. Let's see. Any other standouts here you want to point out? Doggone it, Grant Infinger having a rough season.
Yeah, him and Christopher Bell from the Cup Series, man, they cannot buy a cup of even decent luck, let alone a cup full of bad luck. Just one thing after another. Grant Infinger got pushed, nowhere to go, went through the infield, and absolutely exploded his truck.
Okay, let's go to the standings here for the Truck Series. And Jay, you want to cover the standings?
I'm hoping that loaded. There it is. Okay, again, Mr. Consistency, as I'm starting to call him, Caden Honeycutt. Again, right there in the mix, doesn't have a win. Does have a stage win, though, at 257. Now, 14 points ahead of Chandler Smith. He's sliding back a little bit, but not out of it by any means. Lane Riggs is on the climb. He's now 19 back in third. Gio Ruggiero, minus 31. I wanted to say that here in the trucks. Well, that was one I was specifically thinking of. Good, clean race. Aggressive, but clean. So
He's
shout out
learning.
there. Yes. Ben Rhodes, then Christian Eckes, 5th and 6th. Ty Majeski, Corey Heim, still, again, not eligible, wasn't in this weekend, dropped some positions. Then Tyler Ankrum, Stuart Friesen. And there would be, actually, Jake Garcia would be the cut line at minus 102. Justin Haley, minus 103, only 1 point behind him. Daniel Hemrick at minus 111 is only another 8 points back. Another 2 back to Brendan Queen. So, again, it's going to get really tight there at that cut line. And eventually Corey Heim will shuffle off the points list there. Again, he is not eligible.
Right. Okay, so some interesting things here. I'm going to tell you the ones that were moving up and down. Caden Honeycutt moved up while Chandler Smith moved back. So he takes over that points lead. Lane Riggs moved up 1. Giro up 2. Ben Rhodes up 3. Christian Eckes moved back 1. Corey Heim moved back 5. We expected that. Tyler Ankrum up 3. Stuart Friesen up 1. Jake Garcia and Justin Haley both moved down 2. Daniel Hemrick up 3. Brendan Queen, stable. He stayed pretty much the same. Tanner Gray and Grant Enfinger down 2 for Tanner, down 1 for Grant Enfinger. Andreas Perez stays the same. Dawson Sutton, I'm really happy with what's happening with that team. He's up 2. Cole Butcher down 1. Minnie Tyrell up 1. Chris Wright down 1. Frankie Munoz moving up. He's up 1. Spencer Boyd, that's why I shouted that out. He moved up 3 with his finish. Then we go down to Corey LaJoy moving up 1. Tyler Wright down 2. Clayton Green up 3 and Tammy Hill down 2. So Luke Baldwin down 2. I think that he wasn't in the race. So that would explain that. So some movers up and down here, Jay.
Well, and Sharon, I don't know what you know or what the fans here know. I know you highlighted Frankie Munoz going up, and that was good to see. However, if you didn't see the announcement, next week, he's got a conflicting situation. He is 2nd in points with the GT4 series, I believe, and has chosen to go that route. So will miss a truck race, which means he will not be eligible for the chase in the truck series if he were to get to that position.
That was, Jay?
Frankie Munoz.
Oh, Frankie Munoz. Yes. Yes. Okay, so we're going to miss him in the race next week. And I see you put up May the 4th be with you. Those that are Star Wars fans will know what we mean by that.
Well, and I was going to try and see if you can get my shirt is actually one modeled after Star Wars. Well, it's actually a Christian shirt. It says, "May the Lord be with you," but it is based off. It's based off of Star Wars of the 4th. My son got that, and I told him, I said, I got to wear it today. So
very good, very good. Okay, so with that, Jay, Carson Hocevar, he's pretty hot right now. Again, becoming one of the NASCAR's most competitive threats.
It was, and I know he didn't have a great finish there on the Cup side. The funny thing I heard on this was he was with Flow Racing doing pit interviews during the high limits racing. He interviewed Kyle Larson. Larson made the comment, "Yeah, I got to come win these races so I stay relevant compared to you."
So he's quickly making a name for himself, and the fans love him.
Absolutely.
Out of his fire suits, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. That is one of those of, I know a lot of the broadcasts and analysts have said it, not to put anything down on anybody else, but that they need a character in NASCAR, and Hocevar is definitely a character.
Okay, now our topics for discussion tonight, possibly the best race ever with the clean racing, and you put that in there. I will say I really enjoyed watching. I thought it was the best race of the weekend, the NASCAR Truck Series race. I had a good time watching that race. It was, like you said, it was good clean racing, and It was just a lot of fun to watch, I thought.
And this goes back. Oh, sorry.
I know All Sports All Day gave it a 5 out of 10. Or no, he gave it a 8 out of 10. He thought it was the best race of the weekend as well. And Jamie Schweitzer's in the house. Great truck race. Yes, it was, Jamie.
That's one of, you're right. I put it as one of the possibly the best ever. My memory's not so good. I can't say I got them all in my head, and going back, and I was waiting as soon as I could get on, log in and see All Sports All Day's rankings. That is one. I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Can you ever rank a race 9 or 10? I would have to give this one a 9, if not a 9.5, almost a 10. I mean, it really was, as Jamie said, great truck race.
It was a great truck race. Okay, late cautions, though, set up the overtime beyond the scheduled distance. The final stage featured multiple incidents and even a red flag, creating that kind of chaotic finish. Hocevar nailed the restart and drove away under pressure from Kyle Busch. And who wouldn't love to win a Truck Series race over Kyle Busch? And that's always a big deal for these drivers, although Hocevar is now in the Cup Series himself, but still winning against Kyle Busch is a big deal. It was a classic truck race, long green runs, late carnage, and a shootout finish.
Yeah, like I said, I think if you're a fan, it gave you everything you would want, unless you want to see the big one wreck, which we don't, not all of us want to see that from that aspect. So I thought it checked every box you could possibly want, with that exception of absolute destruction, which isn't a check box for me.
Yeah. And Jamie says Carson is winning across various NASCAR series. Yes, exactly. He is. He has arrived, and the competition beware, because he's on a mission. Let's see. Hunter says they got 3 wide behind Hocevar, and he took off to win. He sure did. While the 3 wide were battling it out, it opened the door for Hocevar.
And again, we can question that, whether or not had it been a one-on-one battle, would Hocevar still prevailed? That's part of it. You mentioned Kyle Busch getting up to second. He was part of that. He gave that push to Hocevar and then had to battle his own. And honestly, coming back to get second, I think it was All Sports All Day that said that, of fighting back just to get there, was amazing for him, based on the year he's having and based on just that race.
Yes. Did I miss one of All Sports All Day's comments? Oh, yeah. He was down and out. I got you. Yep. We put that up there.
Yep.
Okay. The other part of this is Kyle Busch. He does come back, but he falls short. He hit the wall early and even went a lap down. He fought all the way back to second place, nearly stealing the win. His Texas Truck Series win streak, though, of 4 straight, comes to an end. The takeaway, vintage Kyle Busch comeback drive, but not quite enough to win.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, records and streaks are eventually meant to be broken. The good thing, what I take away from it, is for those concerned on the Cup side, we know that Kyle Busch still has the talent, can still drive, and he showed it, honestly. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Jamie Schweitzer saying panic button for Joey Larson or Cindric. 8 in Cup yet.
Yeah, we'll get to the Cup Series, but you better start popping it now.
Truck Series now, but thank you for the comment, Jamie. We'll come back to that in a little bit here. Let's see. So it was a vintage Kyle Busch comeback, but he was up against Carson Hocevar, and Carson was up for the challenge. So I thought it made for a very interesting race. Spire Motorsports, though, that had that 1-2 finish, Hocevar and Busch, shows elite speed and depth across the truck program, reinforces their growing presence across NASCAR's top series. Quietly becoming a powerhouse team, though, in the Truck Series, I would say.
I don't know if I agree with the word quietly. When they took over from Kyle Busch Motorsports, they did the changeover from Toyota to Chevy. I think that was while it was still KBM when he went to RCR. So there was some concern, a little bit of a lag, but not a lot. But I think they are definitely back on or near the top. I don't know if I'd call them the top with Tricon and what Corey Heim has done, but they are definitely in it.
One of the thoughts I had deals with the lawsuit, Jay. I was thinking they forced Chris Gabehart to spend his time in the Truck Series with Spire Motorsports, and they are nailing it. So it's kind of interesting.
That's true too. Yeah, you're right. They're going to find something for him to do, and it ain't going to matter.
It ain't going to matter. Okay, the takeaway. Well, I already did the takeaway. The chase picture is tightening up. Caden Honeycutt finishes third and now leads the standings after Texas. I love it. Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs, Ben Rhodes all remain, though, in striking distance. So the takeaway here is it's no runaway leader. It's going to be a tight title fight. It's wide open in the Truck Series, Jay.
It is. Caden Honeycutt is still my top favorite, and I have picked Chandler Smith when he first came back to the Truck Series. But Caden Honeycutt, again, Mr. Consistency, doesn't have those wins, but is there in the top three week in and week out. Lane Riggs has had to climb back up to where he's at to third. So I think it could be a battle, but right now, I think you got to go through Caden Honeycutt.
I do too. Hunter says Honeycutt will find himself real soon, a win real soon. I agree,
Absolutely.
Hunter. I think he will too. He was so hard on himself in his post-race interview, though. He said he's really trying to figure out. He said he's going to go back and watch the video and try to figure out what he could have done differently to go after the win. He feels like he's not closing it out in the end to get those wins. But I agree with Hunter. I think the wins are coming.
Well, and you mentioned it. Look at who he was competing with.
Yes.
Carson Hocevar, Kyle Busch, Brandon Jones. I mean, so you're in there mixing it up with the top Sunday afternoon stars. So, second, third's not bad when it comes to that.
It's not bad. Okay, Ben Rhodes, pole to a solid top five. He's a former champion in the Truck Series. He won the pole and dominated early and did win stage one. He ends up with the fifth place, showing some consistency, but not closing speed. Rhodes does equal a contender, but he's still chasing that first 2026 win. Your thoughts here about Ben Rhodes?
Well, you mentioned it there, the consistency or lack thereof. Started on the pole, was up front. When he got shuffled back, it took him all the rest of the race just to get back to a respectable finish. But they did do it, and that's a good sign for a championship team, is that overcoming. So there is a positive there. Yes.
Ben Rhodes was one of our Fan for Racing Radio regulars when he was down in the ARCA old K&N West series or East series. And, we really like him, but I sure hope he gets this going. It's much better than it was last year. I see him on an upward swing when you compare it to last year. So I think that's a good thing.
Oh, no doubt. And you're talking about over the past couple years, they've definitely been down. They are trending up, but again, even in one race, they're kind of a back and forth. So there's a little bit of, on the broadcast, they do that low concern, mid concern, or high concern, kind of in the middle of I'm not hitting the panic button, as Jamie said, we're not hitting the panic button yet, but they are working up, but they still got some things to clean up.
Yes, indeed. Now, I wouldn't call these guys necessarily underdogs, but Lane Riggs did have a breakout run. He charged from 34th back to 6th place, which was really great. And Caden Honeycutt does continue his breakout season with that 3rd place finish. But the real takeaway here is that there's depth in the field. It's stronger than ever in 2026. And I think we're in for some heavy-duty competition in this series.
And I think you're right there. The depth, and we see some teams, organizations, if you will, and I'm going to hit on Ram there, that are coming. They're not quite there yet. We know Lane Riggs can be a contender. He has showed that. hasn't quite had the start to this season we would have expected. Chandler Smith up and down, got a DQ, is dropped to second in the points. But once they all get into a groove, I think you're right. I would say there's a list of 5 to 6. And, Kevin Harvick ironically likes to say to start the chase, you need to be in that top 6. I think those are the top 6 you're looking at.
And I think it could still change throughout the season. But keep in mind, the Truck Series has the shortest season. So that's why this momentum that they carry is so important. The ups and downs continue. Up on the upside, we got Honeycutt, Riggs, and Rhodes. On the downside, we've kind of mentioned it, Infinger, Smith, and Friesen.
Well, and I'm the one that put that up. First off, obviously Chandler Smith, yes, it's down, but he's still second in points. So I'm sure he's not real worried about it. Grant Enfinger, Stuart Friesen is right on the cut line. That's the one that's right in the middle. No, I lost my train of thought. Oh, Grant Enfinger. And we've talked about it. He's talked about it. Everybody's talked about it. The year he is having in this race, yet again, just showed it. Great truck, was running decent. And all of a sudden, it just went totally south.
Yes. Okay, and I just think there's more to come, and I think we can look forward to a lot of really good things here. Now, some things in the news here just recently. Rams number 25. Clint Boyer is going to be in that truck at Dover, and Jamie McMurray is going to be in the truck out at San Diego. So I guess Clint Boyer got first choice. He chose Dover. So that left Jamie McMurray with San Diego. Your thoughts about this?
Well, from what everybody else joking about it, they were like, why would you choose Dover? I'm sure Jamie McMurray was happy to take a road course, if you will, from his background. So, again, I was a little hesitant and not sure about this program. The way they were doing this free agent truck turned out to be a great thing. And I do think overall it is helping the team. We look at one of them was the free agent truck, Parker Kligerman, 11th, and then Brendan Queen there in 13th, I believe. I think we're seeing them weekly right now, 11th to 15th. Get a top 10 maybe, or get up closer. I think 7th is their best finish. But again, it's that rise. It's not happening overnight, but they are continuing to rise. And I do think this free agent, top drivers, even maybe some retired ones, does help a lot of different ways. So I got to give the Ram program credit for something I just didn't envision the way they did, and it's working out.
Yes, indeed. The other news story that came out is that McAnally Hilgeman Racing is introducing a driver development entry at Watkins Glen. Have you seen any news on who that might be, Jay?
Yeah, one of them was part of that this weekend, Tony Breidinger, and I think she's the one that's in the truck at Watkins Glen, if I'm not mistaken. And then Mason Massey, his dates haven't been set, but that's another driver that they're going to have in that development program.
Okay, well, that sounds good. And they couldn't be with a better team, McAnally Hilgeman Racing. McAnally being a big stalwart in the ARCA West Series, now racing in the Truck Series. And with Hilgeman as part of that organization, I think there's a lot to look forward to with that whole team.
That's one I like the commitment. They got Tyler Ankrum, and they've shown they can compete. Again, they still got a little bit of things to tweak on to get to be a weekly top contender, but they are working on it, and I love to see that. Okay,
well, let's move on to the O'Reilly Series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, OAP. And the winner here was another Cup Series driver, Kyle Larson, winning at Texas in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. That was a really interesting race to watch, too. He steals the show again. Larson once again proved he's a difference maker anytime he drops into the series, taking the win at Texas. He beat a stacked field of full-time contenders. It reinforces the Cup Star versus O'Reilly regulars debate. and it continues his dominance on 1.5-mile tracks. He also won at Kansas earlier this season. The takeaway question, can anyone consistently stop Larson when he shows up? And I'll ask you that question while I'm pulling up the results here, Jay.
Honestly, he answered that in his post race. He said Justin Allgaier had the fastest car. I got track position coming out of the pits, and that was the difference. We saw a couple of maybe different viewpoint disagreement on some restart and blocking. Kyle Larson felt Allgaier's early in the race was a little too early to be being that aggressive. But as it showed, it was important because it was track position that truly mattered when it came down to it at the end. Larson was doing a lot of blocking. Allgaier gave him everything he could to try and rattle him.
He did. He really did. Okay, let's take a look at the results here in the O'Reilly series. Kyle Larson was your winner. He didn't gain points because he's not a series regular. This win margin was closer, 0.293 thousandths of a second, and he did lead 93 of the laps. Kyle Larson coming in first place. The fastest lap went to Justin Allgaier at 29.93, so that was good to see. Sam Mayer in third. Finally, a good finish for Sam Mayer. He's been struggling this season. Brent Cruz with a fourth place finish. Parker Retzlaff, a fifth place finish. Really good news for all of those guys. Sheldon Creed in sixth place, followed by Austin Hill, bringing home a seventh. Brandon Jones in eighth. Jesse Love ninth. And Jeremy Clements rounds out the top 10. Carson Cavapo behind in 11th. Anthony Alfredo with a 12th place finish, going down to Sammy Smith in 13th, Brian Sieg 14th, William Sawalich with a top 15 finish here. Patrick Starapoli is coming. He had a 17th place finish this week. Dean Thompson just in front of him. LeVar Scott, another one of the rookies, had that 19th place finish. Connor Zilic, kind of surprised that Connor Zilic finished in 21st. He was running. Harrison Burton, Austin Dillon. You can kind of follow along here and see some of the other finishers. So Taylor Gray, he was running. He ended up with that 33rd place finish. Roger Caruth in 34th. Corey Day. Oh, I felt so bad for Corey Day. He was out on the first lap, and Dawson Cram finishing 38th. He was out on the first lap as well.
You know, and that's why I was in the vehicle listening to this on MRN initially, that the track of, you know, we saw such a great race from the truck series, and it seemed like the O'Reilly series had issues with the track, or some tire issues there, as Hunter pointed out, that bump in the track. And I was just like, well, you guys are supposed to be the next level up. And then that continued actually though into the Cup Series. So I was really, goes back to how All Sports All Day ranked the races. The trucks handled it, and these other two series seem to have a little more problems with it. That was kind of confusing to me.
Yes. And we'll talk about that in the Cup Series as well. Yeah, he says Zilic had an issue with the tire, I believe. And you're right, he did. He had that issue with the tire, and he had to go in. And so that put him back in the running. But a pretty exciting race here, just the same.
It was, because when you look at those top five before we move on to the points, Sam Mayer, Brent Cruz, and on the edge, Parker Retzlaff, and then Sheldon Creed. But there at the end, I think, how that last restart shuffled out, if they could have gotten track position, I think they would have had a legitimate shot at it. There again, that's what it came down to. And Sam Mayer said he knows that. He lost it in pit road. Yep,
absolutely. Okay, here's our point standings, Jay, if you want to cover those.
All right. Well, again, Justin Allgaier right in there did extend his lead now. It's back up to 121 over Sheldon Creed. Jesse Love back 167. Corey Day takes a hit, obviously, with that finish now fourth, but the points shifted a ton. Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, Austin Hill, Carson Cavapo, your top eight. The final four here, you look at Parker Retzlaff. Sharon mentioned that 5th place run, very solidly in at 329 points. Taylor Gray, another one that took kind of a hit. William Sawalich staying steady, but he's in a danger zone. Sam Mayer is now in at 285. Ryan Sieg at 277. Brent Cruz at 273. And Rajah Caruth at 271. They're within 14 points of Sam Mayer on that cut line. So we've been talking about Brent Cruz. He keeps knocking down top 5, top 10 finishes. Sam Mayer's got to have his stuff together, as does William Sawalich and Taylor Gray.
Yes, indeed. It's pretty interesting. Okay, I'm going to go over your comers and goers. One thing to note here, your top 6 drivers, Jay, none of them changed position, including Corey Day, who had a horrible day. He was able to maintain his 4th place spot. Austin Hill moved up 1, Carson Cavapel down 1, Parker Retzlaff up 1, Taylor Gray down 1, and we saw where he finished. William Sawalich stabilized. Sam Mayer up 2 after a good finish. Brent Cruz up 1. Ryan Sieg stayed the same. Rajah Caruth had a bad day. He moved down 3 spots. Brendan Poole stayed the same. Dean Thompson up 1. Jeb Burton down 1. Jeb Burton, the 4th, I should say. Just a little tidbit here in case you didn't know. JEB, that stands for John Edward Burton. So he is a 4th generation Jeb. And Jeremy Clements up 1, Anthony Alfredo up 1, Blaine Perkins down 2, Patrick Starapoli up 1, Harrison Burton down 1, a couple stabilized, LeVar Scott and Josh Balicki, Kyle Sieg up 1, Austin Green down 1, Josh Williams up 1, Ryan Ellis down 1. I'm seeing a pattern here, Jay. Joey Gay stayed the same, Garrett Smithley up 1, and everybody else about the same. So not a lot of big movers this week. I think we had one that moved up 3. Let's see. Moved down 3. That was Rajah Caruth.
And that is the one. Yeah, that is the one that actually did affect the points position. What I'm looking at, though, is the points within. You mentioned a couple of them. Corey Day, all the points he had earned getting the win and been running real good. But that he may not have lost a position this week, but next week, even having a mediocre run could jump in or lose him 2 or 3 spots if somebody else has that good run, because the points gap has closed. So you got to kind of keep an eye on that as well. Now, once they reseed for the chase, again, based on position where they start the chase, they'll get a little bit of a points cushion. You know, that'll be important. So it is important of what position they're in, but you also got to watch that of what points are in between each of them, as when that bad week happens, how far do you drop?
Yes, and I apologize. I didn't get that up on the screen. I thought it was up there already. So, okay.
Oh, you had it up there a minute ago.
What are your thoughts on the O'Reilly series, Jay says? So give us your thoughts. I know All Sports All Day gave it a, let's see, on the O'Reilly.
I think that one was a 7, yeah.
Yeah, second best race of the weekend, in his opinion. Okay.
And overall, I thought it was a good race. Again, I was a little confused, and it cost some drivers. What was it, lap 1 or 2 that we had a couple issues, and then it took them some time to get into a good rhythm and get to see the good race, and that's what was a little confusing to me.
All right. I think it was a good race. I enjoyed watching it. I was starting to notice the trend, though, of the Cup Series drivers taking the wins. We had 2 in a row right there. And, of course, the Cup Series driver is going to win in the Cup Series. But, Cup Series pretty much dominated the weekend at Texas this weekend. But I thought Justin Allgaier really gave him a run for his money.
He did. And like I said, Kyle Larson fully acknowledged that in his post-race. He said that just came down to track position at the end, and he was fortunate enough to be out front. I will tell you this. Justin Allgaier knows whatever Kyle Larson and that 88 has underneath the rear end of that car, because he was all over the back end trying every which way around him.
He was. He gave it everything he could, that's for sure. And Justin Allgaier, another driver who said, I'm going to be looking at this one, trying to figure out if there was anything I could have possibly done differently. So you've got a couple of drivers that finished second this weekend that are all saying they're going to review that footage to learn and see what they can do better. And I think that's really good too. I know, what series was it? Maybe it was the Cup Series, where one of the drivers said that they really watched what was going on in front of them to see how they could be better. Honeycutt said that. Honeycutt said that
trucks,
he was
there you go.
learning, yeah, from being behind Kyle Busch and Carson Hocevar, and he was going to go back and study the footage as well to see what he could learn to be better. So I like hearing that from the drivers.
Well, and what's really ironic to hear somebody like Justin Allgaier, you know, even as a many-time winner, 31 times up on the all-time list, you know, still saying, hey, I got things I can learn, especially from a driver like Kyle Larson. In this case, I think they were so competitive, it was going to take that bobble or misstep from the driver in front of them. And Kyle Larson does make them, but not very often.
Not too often, especially on 1.5 mile tracks. Okay,
Exactly.
Justin Allgaier stayed elite, but came up short. He had a strong point stay, as you mentioned. He expanded his points lead. He continues to anchor Junior Motorsports, but he's still chasing that statement win. He's the benchmark, though, but he is closing. But is he closing enough races? I would say he is. I think he's had a phenomenal year. If he didn't finish first, he's finished second. He's got 3 wins on the season and a couple of seconds already. So I think he's still a benchmark.
Oh, absolutely. And again, even if your bad day is 3rd, 4th, or 5th, people aren't gaining that many points on you. It's going to be tough to take it from you, even if you're not necessarily winning. You don't have to go out and win every race. It's the consistency. And you can't find a better model of consistency than Junior Motorsports and a driver like Justin Allgaier. You pair the two of them together, almost unbeatable.
It is. Now, Hunter says Justin top 3 is a bet. I place almost every week. He'll win the championship, according to Hunter, and I think he could be very well right about that.
Absolutely, not a bad bet, because like I said, I think there's a couple of drivers that are coming and getting there. I don't know that any of them. Sheldon Creed would be my next one to say as far as consistency this year. But again, he finished 6th. What is he doing? Losing 3 spots or points, to Justin Allgaier. So again, 6 is a great day, but it's not good enough.
But the youth movement does continue in the O'Reilly series. Sam Mayer and Brett Cruz, they shine. Young talent continues to surge, showing up and shouting out, especially Cruz and Retzlaff. But Mayer as well, he had that 3rd place finish. Cruz in 4th place, and also wins the Dash for Cash finale bonus. That was the last race for Dash for Cash. Cruz especially is becoming one of the breakout stars of the 26th season. The future is here, and it's fast. And that Dash for Cash, well, we'll get to that next. But your thoughts here about these guys that are showing up and shouting out.
Yeah, Sam Mayer, again, we've expected this, especially he showed a little bit of it early in the season, had dropped way down. He's now battling for that cut line. Not sure talk about closing out some races. So it was good to see that. The 2 I highlighted were Brent Cruz, and we have talked about that for several weeks now.
Yes.
He is not just coming, he is there knocking on the door of the win. But Parker Retzlaff, better and better each week, this week with a 5th place finish. And that's coming from a team of Viking Motorsports that is on the rise. Again, they're not quite a even mid-tier team, they're right on the edge of it though. And Parker Retzlaff, though, I know he wasn't necessarily on our list or high on our list of ones that could win next. I think he could be.
He could be. He's knocking on it. He's getting closer for sure. And I agree. I think these guys are, Cruz especially is really showing up quickly. He just turned old enough to be able to race full time in the series, and he's already showing some strength in the series. So very, very impressive. Mayer, who had that slow start to the season, is finally showing up. And Parker Retzlaff has been showing up all season long with top 10 finishes. And I agree with you. I think he's knocking on the door. He's moving up that ladder, and it's not going to be long before we see him grabbing a win. Next up, we've got the Dash for Cash Spotlight intensifies. The battle added another layer of excitement for the series, but it was Cruz cashing in as the youngest winner of that $100,000 bonus. He continues this momentum from recent races. This program is turning young drivers into household names very quickly.
Yeah, and I want to go back. If you can put it up, Hunter Blazer it was a question actually. Parker to win a race this season. I think Sharon and I both did kind of answer it. I certainly, and I'm not in any of the gambling sites, but your odds on that, I would have to say that's worth a $5 to $10 bet, because I really do think you look at this weekend, a little bit luck or whatever, a track position. I think he really did have a shot at it. So I think there are some tracks that could happen this year.
I think so too. And I will tell you, Parker, I understand where you're coming from. Or not Parker, Hunter. I understand where you're coming from, but Parker Retzlaff has been a quick study, I think, in the series. But he's a little more methodical than probably a Brent Cruz might be, or maybe methodical in a different way. He's in a different type of equipment. Cruz is in top tier equipment. Parker is not in top tier equipment. And what he is accomplishing is really impressive in less than top tier equipment. So does he have some tough competition to get a victory? Absolutely, yes. And we've highlighted some of the drivers that not only does he have a driver like the likes of Justin Allgaier, but he's got all these Cup Series drivers that are coming into the series that give them a learning opportunity to learn how to beat better drivers. So, yes, I agree with that. He needs a better ride than Viking. If he was in the same equipment as Brett Cruz, I think we would be seeing different results from Parker Retzlaff. So you're right. He needs better equipment than Viking. But I think he's up to the task. So I think he's moving in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
Here's the thing, and I can't disagree with that, but I think as Sharon was kind of alluding to, there are only so many spots here. No, not that bad, Sharon. No. There are only so many seats at Junior Motorsports or at Joe Gibbs Racing. So to see an organization build into, and we saw it with Colleague, and unfortunately, to focus on the trucks with Ram, they had pulled out. That was another organization that had climbed up and was contending with JRM and Joe Gibbs Racing. So would I like to see him in a Junior Motorsports ride and get that opportunity? Yes, but I like the drivers they have there and are getting that opportunity as well. So to see him doing it and an organization building into a contender, I see great joy in that for this series.
I agree, Jay. I thought you were going to go somewhere else. but yeah, I do. I agree. I think that I agree with Hunter as well. He does need a better ride. Parker is a very capable driver, and given an opportunity to be in a better ride, I know I'm repeating myself. I just think we would be seeing better results from him.
And I wouldn't argue that. I mean, how many drivers have we said that before? Think back to Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman. I mean, that's why they went through what they went through, is now they got those top rides because of it.
And that leads right into our next topic, which is the depth of the field. There's contenders everywhere. And all you have to do is look at the top 10. Parker Retzlaff in 5th, Sheldon Creed in 6th, Austin Hill 7th, Brandon Jones 8th. The takeaway here is no easy days in this series. There are legit contenders that run 10 plus deep. This might be the deepest field in NASCAR right now. And I really think it does run deep here in the Xfinity series. And you've got the new guys that are coming in. You got the new guys coming into the series like Corey Day, and Brent Cruz, who's really taking off quickly as well. I know this week was not Corey Day's best week, but he's still a legit contender.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. What I kind of see here, what we might see is as we get to the end of the O'Reilly Auto Parts season, if Parker makes the chase, he may not win it overall, but we may see him do like Lane Riggs did and have his breakout in that chase 10 races or 9 races here in the O'Reilly, see him win races even though he may not be eligible or in a points position to catch Justin Allgaier if he's the leader. We'll just go with when he is. But see that of him really break out at the end of the season, and then hopefully that'll carry into the next season like we saw with Lane Riggs.
Okay. And I agree. Okay, next up, I just put down into the chat room, are we missing any of the O'Reilly hot topics here? If we are, post it for us and we'll put it into the discussion. Strategy and track position still king at Texas. Texas once again rewarded that clean air, restarts, track position. The takeaway here, drivers who started up front like Allgaier stayed there while others struggled to move forward. Passing remains a challenge. Execution, though, is everything. Some are better at executing than others, Jay.
Yeah, and that's always a big thing, and that's what makes part of it interesting. I don't know that we have any big highlights from the O'Reilly series when it comes to a lack of pit road execution. There's a couple on the Cup side we've talked about, but that is and Sharon, you mentioned it, the depth and the closeness of the competition, little things on pit road of getting out in front of one car gets you that track position. That gets you the clean air, gives you a better shot on your restarts, not being in the middle of an accordion when it happens. So they all play together. So there again, it's all about team. And again, you got to point back to junior motorsports. They fire on all 8 cylinders, every aspect of it.
They absolutely do. Okay, we also saw some momentum shifts heading into the next stretch. Larson builds momentum on limited starts. Allgaier strengthens his title push. Cruz emerges as a legit weekly threat. The chase picture is starting to take shape early.
It is, and I know, again, we kind of lean towards the top of Allgaier being the dominant. I would not pen his name in, but if you're using a pencil, you can press pretty hard and make it a heavy, thick lead. Again, I mentioned Sheldon Creed. Jesse Love right now is still kind of that up and down. One week it looks like he's a serious contender again. Then other weeks it's like, he's running 11th, 12th, and that ain't going to cut it when you're talking about Allgaier finishing 3rd.
That's right. At top 5 every week, if not winning. Okay. There's a couple of other little topics here, though. CW team, CW Network teaming up with ESPN, Jay. And if you've got ESPN Unlimited, you'll be able to watch CW Sports on ESPN. If not, I think they are still going to carry it on the CW Network as well.
This is one, Sharon, I had a discussion offline for those of you that don't know me, I'm not a big technology or app guy, but I am in favor of it for the sport as a whole. And I know Sharon said her ESPN Unlimited comes with Hulu. I know a lot of people, even my nephew has that. So again, I appreciate the exposure. I still don't get to watch it because I don't have the apps. I don't use the apps. That's my choice.
Yeah, I have the Hulu TV. I have a Roku TV. I'm all about streaming. But yeah, I love that the ESPN and Disney Plus come with my Hulu subscription. So I get all of that without the additional cost, which I love. But if you're looking for how you can get ESPN Unlimited, if you cut the cord and switch over to Hulu TV, you can get ESPN Unlimited and be able to watch on there. What I love about that, they have good graphics on the CW network, but on ESPN, you're going to get 4K visuals, I think, as well. So I think that's would make it even more impressive.
Yeah, I do. And ironically, I heard somebody for watching practice in it. Okay, Hunter's saying it won't be available on the CW app now. And that is where my concern comes in. If you do have to pay for whatever additional, and I'm just going to use myself as an example. I watch wrestling, so you got to have this app for wrestling, the CW app or the ESPN app for this, the NBA app for basketball. My nephew has that. Yeah. And, they're each $10.95 a month, but you start adding up 4 or 5 that you got to get. That's where I don't want to see it go in that direction. That's my only concern.
And I feel for what Hunter's talking about here, too. I'm upset because it's expensive, and I use the CW app for watching practice and qualifying, and now that won't be available. He's talking about the app itself. CW Network is still going to be available. But
practice and qualifying were only on the app.
Yes, you're right. That's only on the app. Okay, there's All Sports All Day. I wondered what happened to him. I'm sorry, I had to do something. We missed you, All Sports All Day. And
I was going to say we didn't need any statistics, so I guess we didn't lean on him while he was gone.
Yeah, so tell us your thoughts, All Sports All Day, about the CW app, CW joining with ESPN Unlimited. I'm of the opinion, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think a lot of people are moving to streaming services. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, apparently he wants to talk ARCA. We'll get to that. That's the next 2 up is the ARCA East and West before we hit the cup. I was just going
to type that. You beat me to it. Okay.
Oh, sorry. So,
you didn't miss ARCA. It's still coming up, All Sports All Day. In fact, we're going to move right into ARCA after O'Reilly series. So, okay. So,
I think you're right, Sharon. And like I said, that's why I'm not opposed to it. The only thing I'd be concerned with, again, the cost, as Hunter had pointed out. The other thing, though, is, and we saw this in some other things, yes, you want to engage the new generation of fan, but you don't want to alienate or push out the older fan. And I'll put myself in that category now.
It makes me wonder, though, and I don't know if it's clear in the announcement or not, is that maybe they're going to switch over to practice and qualifying being available on the CW network. Why couldn't it have been ESPN Plus? I would have actually gotten that. And what the hell is Unlimited? But I'm not losing any sweat over practice and qualifying. Okay. It's just, I don't know what the difference is between Plus and Unlimited, to be honest with you. I just know that Unlimited is included. I think here's what I think the difference is. I think Unlimited, ESPN Plus is a channel of the ESPN platform. ESPN Unlimited includes all the different channels on the ESPN platform. I think that's what the difference is. I'm not 100% sure. He says, I'm mostly mad about how the races aren't on app yet, like they promised over a year ago. Sometimes here in New Hampshire, I don't get it. Oh, okay. You're from New Hampshire? Oh, that's really cool to know.
I don't have a whole lot of knowledge here, but from what I heard, the CW one, the races are now available 24 hours. Oh, you don't have the CW app at all here in New Jersey? Really? I didn't know you couldn't get the app. The channel, okay, there we go. The channel. Hunter is the one from New Jersey.
Yeah, okay. I know you have troubles with that too, Jay.
Right. Well, yeah, mine's a connection. It's there. It just don't come in clear for some live sporting events. And that's where I do have some concern too. And with the app, I thought I saw this. I might be mistaken, though, that a race broadcast will be available 24 hours after. And I can't answer why they don't do it live. I'm not going to get into that. But that they're supposed to start having them available after 24 hours. You can go back and watch it back. Again, that's, I know, probably not ideal what you want to hear, but for me on days...
Whoops, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, for me, honestly, the CW is one of those on days when I don't get it for whatever reason, to have it on a replay would be nice. ESPN and Fox normally do that. I struggle with that because, like I said, I don't always get it live.
I really hope that they would. One thing that I would like to see them consider is doing like they did with the ARCA races this weekend, having them televised or simulcast on the NASCAR channel. I think that would, and that's a free service. Right. All Sports All Day says, I'm pretty sure it's less than 24 hours. 9 YouTube, though. I'm not sure what that means. 24-hour 9.
I was going to say there too. I know there's some that I pick it up just to get the highlights. I've never watched a full race on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, it would be really cool. Yes, great point, Sharon. Yeah, it would be really cool if they could bring it over to that NASCAR channel. And even if it is delayed, even if the practice and qualifying was I meant on. Okay, that's why. That's why I wasn't quite sure what you were saying. Thanks, All Sports All Day. But yeah, I really like the NASCAR channel. I watch it quite a bit. And they do a lot of replays on there, even older races, what they call classics. So that's really cool too. Hunter says, I watched the race on CW app. It's called Battle Cam, no audio. So I listened to PRN while watching. Oh, great idea, Hunter. Maybe there's others out there that could do the same thing here. They also have a few driver cams to watch. They do. On the app, they have the driver cams on the CW app.
I don't remember what platform it was. The watching it with no audio has been around for a while because I did that when I was deployed. We could get access to, and again, I don't know if it was YouTube, but yeah, it was no audio, so it was really weird. And that may be where I started doing my own broadcasting and telling what I saw. That might have been where I got that bug because I never had audio.
I do that even on TV sometimes, depending on what's going on. I might have the radio broadcast on while I'm watching on TV. There's good and bad with that because sometimes the radio's ahead of the TV or vice versa. Right. So you'll hear the radio talk about it and then you'll see it happen on TV.
And be like, oh, wait, I got to watch the TV now.
Yeah, exactly. Hunter says, got to make it work when you're frugal. That's true.
I appreciate that.
I think that is an excellent idea of what you're doing, and I'm glad we can share it here on the show. What branch are you in, Jay?
I'm retired Air Force. I did Air Force for 24 years, so thank you, All Sports there. But yeah, I was Air Force.
Okay. One thing that I want to discuss here too, no Fords at all in the O'Reilly Series this weekend. All Chevrolet, and I think there were 6 Toyota teams. Your thoughts about that?
I'm not even a Ford person per se. If you don't know it, I'm a Dodge person. But that's sad. I mean, that is absolutely horrifically sad. Again, that's one of those of core of the sport. And we've seen it coming already when Roush, when it was just Roush racing, withdrew. Penske still had a presence. There were a couple of satellites, but we've seen that getting smaller and smaller. And we absolutely hit rock bottom here. Great word, embarrassing. I do think it is. I don't understand how they are not investing, not just as a manufacturer, but the driver development. We've talked about that. Toyota set the standard for for driver development, and Ford absolutely did nothing. I mean, and now it's gone.
And if Ford isn't embarrassed, I'm embarrassed for them.
Exactly.
And Jay, All Sports All Day says,
Yeah,
wow, thank you for your service. I want
thank
to
you.
make
I
sure
appreciate it.
you saw that. And that's from all of us, really. It is embarrassing for Ford. All of the manufacturers should be represented in this series. And if you look at an entry list, it is dominated by Chevrolet in the O'Reilly series. Only 6 Toyota teams, no Ford teams, and we need to change that. I hope NASCAR can do something about that. It says they're banking on snagging kids who fall through the cracks of Toyota and Chevy pipeline. Yeah, and that's not a good strategy. I don't like that strategy.
Well, there's good and bad. We think about it though. It was Ford that had somebody. What was his name? Jeff Gordon snatched from him. So that is one thing I know they joked about this weekend. Somebody better guarantee and lock Corey Haim down, or somebody else is going to. Again, I admire Corey Haim for sticking to his guns. I would not be driving the schedule he has this year. I would find somebody that'll give me a full-time ride. I know he's got more faith than I do.
I will say Ford, we've said this before over the years, Ford needs to work on their development program. I think Toyota has an excellent driver development program. Chevrolet, dominating in the O'Reilly series, seems to have people who are at least moving through the series. But again, there's no place at the end in the Cup Series until some people retire. So it's difficult to get into the Cup Series these days. And they're going to have a hard time. Ford's going to have a hard time if they don't have people in the pipeline. I just think it's a mistake not to have Ford in the Xfinity O'Reilly series.
Fully agree. And you said the word sad, embarrassed. Yeah, I mean, that's just, it's not right. And I hate to tell them how to run their business, but even RFK, and I know we're going to get to this one a little bit later, has talked about it in returning. I think it's much needed. Somebody's got to bring that spark.
Exactly. You've got to have people in the pipeline. Okay, All Sports All Day. Are you ready?
Oh, wait, Hunter Blazer wants to get me spun up.
Did he bring a spoon?
Well, no, this is a good one. I don't know what their plans are as far as O'Reilly. They started with the trucks. Cup is obviously projected. I would hate to also then see them not engage in O'Reilly, but the route they're going, I think that'll be their third step, being that they're put everything into the trucks, looking to go Cup. I think the O'Reilly will trickle down. A lot of times we see them go O'Reilly. Well, even Toyota did, though. They went trucks and then Cup and O'Reilly together. So, yeah. And that's All Sports All Day. Absolutely. Get them back into the ARCA as well. Like I said, they're still in the infancy stages. I'm with you. I'd love to see them across the board.
That would be a great idea. I like it. All Sports All Day. Do you think Texas will reconfigure like Atlanta?
Now there's somebody trying to bring the spoon.
I'm sorry.
There's somebody trying to bring the spoon. Man. I heard I heard a little bit about this of should they change Texas? You don't want, it wasn't me this time. Do you want, when something is good, say that what they did at Atlanta, do you want to see all tracks try and duplicate it? And that goes to whatever it be, night racing, we saw the, what's it called? Changing the degree of banking. If one track does it and it's working good, let them have it come with something unique. And right now, honestly, I think Texas is unique the way it is and has been putting on some very good racing. So honestly, I wouldn't worry about touching it. But that's just my opinion.
I think it's okay for now. I know it is bumpy. They talk about the bumps. They do have 2 different ends, kind of like Darlington has. It's hard to set up for one side with the high banking. The other side is a little bit more flat. And so it makes it harder for them to set up for both ends of the track. But I don't see it coming for a while because they did a fairly recent reconfiguration of Texas. So I think it would be a while. Phoenix needs some type of improvement. Yeah, Phoenix, another one that they've done a lot of different things to reconfigure that track. All Sports All Day says, I like Texas how it is. I agree with you, All Sports All Day. I kind of like it the way it is now. I'd hate for them to go in there and kind of mess with it. You don't want the drivers to finally figure it out, and then they go and change it, and they got to go through that learning process all over again. So I think it'll be a while.
I think back to, at the time it was when all the mile and a halves came on board. They're like, oh, they're all cookie cutters. No, they're not. And, depending on how engaged you are, you understand that. But that's the thing that does. Each one it may be a mile and a half, D-shaped, but it's still unique for whatever race or for whatever reason. And progressive banking is the term I was looking for. But I wanted to go back up. Minnie Terrell ran a Chevy-sponsored Ram at Daytona. I thought that was kind of weird. And like I said, I didn't know what their marketing plan was there, but I saw a lot of feedback on that in social media. I'm like, I'm okay with it. I don't know how they got Chevy to agree to that, but.
Okay, I'm sorry if this is a repeat, but Hunter says no need to reconfigure. What they need to do is get rid of the spring Bristol race and go to Rockingham for Cup. I'm not sure. I agree.
Somebody
with
bring
that.
it. Yeah, Big Spoon.
It may be broke, but in this case, don't fix it.
I'm in that category.
And Jamie says, which track do you favor for the Clash? I suggested Homestead. I know a lot of people wanted to go back to Daytona. I'm of the opinion, I like the idea of the 3-year schedule of rotating it to different places.
Well, especially for like the Clash and the All-Star races of, changing it up. I do like, so going to a track we already have a points race at, if in the case of like Dover, they took a cup race away, but they gave them the All-Star race. I'm okay with that. Again, that's one of the core tracks. So I like the rotation. If Homestead right now, again, we're back to Homestead being the season finale, I think they got enough to stand on their own. I don't know that we need to see the Clash or the All-Star race there. I'd rather see it, and I like the fact we went from the Coliseum of a built track to a short track that you're never going to see a cup race at, I don't think, as much as we'd like it at Bowman Gray. So I think that's working, that mentality right now. There's a couple other tracks, throughout I wouldn't mind seeing, but I don't think it needs to be at one of our points racing or championship track, in this case of Homestead.
Okay. I'm going to do this comment and then we're going to move to the ARCA East series. Hunter Blazer says, I'll be going to the Dover race, kind of upset they made it the Clash. It's stupid being a day race and no lights there. I do wish that they would go to tracks where there are lights. I like the Clash being a night race, so I do agree with that.
Agreed.
All Sports All Day says, I love to see them rotate through the southern short tracks. I wonder if there are any cool tracks in Mississippi or something like that. Okay, Jay.
Well, there are, but it would be kind of like Bowman Gray. You got Huntsville has a good track. Montgomery, where they hold the Rattler, but it would have to be that limited number of cars because they are smaller tracks. But again, there would be investment needed because the safer barriers would need to go up. Personally, I'd like to see them bring back Memphis. It breaks my heart when we talk about not having Memphis as part of the O'Reilly or
maybe he wants to bring lights to Talladega so we can have Talladega.
Yeah. That's funny. Again, I would stay away from, and there again, I mean, there's other tracks. We just got Chicagoland back as a points race, Road America. It's a road course, but again, you could do a lot of different unique things for a non-points race.
And by
So,
the way, Julie Geis, who put together the Chicago Street Race, she was the president for the Chicago Street Races. She is now in charge of scheduling. So I think that's fantastic. I think she's going to do a very good job with that. Real quick, and then I'm going to move to the ARCA East. I love the comments, so don't take this as not wanting comments. Yes, Memphis staple of the old K&N Pro Series. Great pull, Jay.
well, while Sharon's getting ready with the ARCA East and West notes, I'll tell you a quick story and it was thanks to Sharon. I was already when trucks at that time it was Nationwide, maybe even Busch, had season tickets there. As a season ticket holder, I got to drive my Honda CRX out on Memphis on the track at Memphis, so I took advantage of that bonus.
Well, in my son's car, I've ridden around the Circuit of the Americas during Christmas. They put on a great Christmas display.
Yep.
And we went around on the track. It was just a part of the track, but it was still fun to see the elevations and to ride that track. I enjoyed that a great deal. Okay, getting to our ARCA East Series. You see our winner up there. Whoops. Up there right now. Max Reeves dominates for a breakthrough 2026 win. This race was all about Max Reeves asserting control. He led all 150 laps wire to wire. He scored his first ARCA East win of the season. He completed a perfect weekend from the pole. He had the pole, he had the fastest laps, and he had the win. This wasn't just a win. It was a statement drive that it reestablishes Reeves as a title threat in the ARCA East. Let's talk about that because I think he was a little frustrated at not winning some of the early races, and so he was gunning for a win.
Yeah, my question.
I don't know what to think of Reeves. Is he a bit of a dick? Of course, he reminds me of young Kyle and kid 16 with some balls and a steady wheel. I think I like him. And Jamie's comments here, there was a trash dump in the middle of CMS in 1976 when we drove our 1975 Chevy Nova around the track the wrong way in 1976. I bet that was fun.
Oh, I had a 75 Chevy Nova. I can only imagine. I'd have gotten in trouble because I'd have let it loose. Yeah, those things were a beast. As we're talking about Max Reeves, yes, all sports all day. Yes to everything you said there. And I've talked about that before. But first, just talk about this win. My question is where has that been? I was kind of frustrated for him, third race of the season. But that tells you, again, the competition of what we saw from Tristan McKee. This is what we expected from Max Reeves.
Yes.
Some of what he carries with that same attitude can come across in a negative way. I've seen a little bit of that already, so we'll have to see how he matures.
Yeah, after that one race, I felt like he was a little bit arrogant and should have been a little more supportive of his fellow competitors. But maybe that's a growing opportunity for him. I don't know. But some of that, if he can tone it down just a little bit so it doesn't come across as arrogance, but more as confidence, I think that would be better. He almost sounded like sour grapes to me when he lost that race. And yes, he does kind of give you a vibe of a Kyle Busch that doesn't like coming in second. He wants to win. I don't know. But let's see. All Sports All Day says, well, Hickory, he got roughed up and cut a tire at Rockingham. Speed has been there. Yes, it has. I agree. He's a talented driver. There's no doubt about it. He's going to make a lot of fans mad in his career, and I'm here for it. Will you be cheering him along the way? I got a feeling you will be. I think he's a talented driver, and I would cheer for him as well. I think he just has some growing to do, as a lot of the drivers in his age group do. He's on a learning curve, and he'll tone that down, hopefully, as time goes on. But it's a fine line. We've seen it amongst several drivers, and it carries with them through their career.
Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Dale Earnhardt. You either loved him or you hated him. The one thing I will say is it's good for the sport because, as Earnhardt said, whether you hear him cheering or hear him booing, as long as you hear him.
Yeah, that's true. And I know it. I just get a little frustrated with him. But, I know what it's about. So let's go over the race results here, Jay. And I'm going to pull those up if you've got anything more you want to say about him winning.
No, like I said, this is kind of what we expected. And to start the season, I said this was going to be one of those years that we've seen in the East and even in the ARCA series of one driver just totally dominating. When Tristan McKee came out, won those first two, and as All Sports All Day said, there were some issues. I'm not going to say it was like he got totally beat, didn't have speed, didn't show talent, but that's part of it. So I think what we're looking at here is a great final run for the East Series championship because McKee wasn't that far behind him. He's got to now play catch up.
Yes, we'll see how that all plays out. Okay, here are your race results for the ARCA East Series. And we've got Max Reeves at the top. The differential here was 4.881 seconds. So it was a pretty dominating win. Landon S. Huffman finished in second place, Tristan McKee in third. Hunter Wright, one of the locals, had a big day. He had that fourth place finish. That kind of complements what he did last year as well. Isaac Kitzmiller with a top 5 finish. Then it was Greg Pellegrini, Esteban Rodriguez, Jackson McLaren, Carson Brown. Kind of surprised that Carson Brown didn't have a better finish. He actually was 2 laps down. And Ivis Early rounds out your top 10 here. So let's see. There were only 6 cars on the lead lap here.
And like I said, this is kind of what I expected to see from Max Reeves this year in the ARCA East. We saw where he could go up and win at the ARCA platform. So is this a surprise? No. We'll have to see how his competition responds and if they can hang with him. And we know McKee can. He can go toe-to-toe with them, as well as Shane Huffman. There may be some Landon Huffman, bumping and banging involved then. But that's part of what this series is about. And I see where, if you want to read it, Sharon, there.
Only gripe is, why does the East Series have only 4 standalones? A decade ago, when it was K&N, they would have 16 races, and it was a thrill. I agree. I wish they would have more races and more competition. We are seeing a few more people entered in these races, but you're right. There's only a handful that seem to be competitive of the whole group. More than last year, if I remember correctly. They only had 5 lead lap finishers last year. Yeah, this year it's 6, so at least one more. But I think they're moving in the right direction by having more people entered. That's where your pipeline develops, is having more people entered in these races. And as they continue to develop, then you get more competition. All Sports All Day. I made a video about it on my racing YouTube channel. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Give us a link.
Put your YouTube channel up there, All Sports All Day. And I'll go back to that. Because we saw what the K&N East and West, I would say almost go into extinction. We saw them come back a little bit, as Sharon said. We're seeing more numbers in them again now. So that's a good sign. As much as I would like to see them do the standalone events like you're talking about, in order to survive, they got to kind of do the matchup. Same with when we look at the truck series. They started as standalone events, separate. Now they're always paired up most of the races. What we'd like and what we have to take in order for them to survive, you got to take, compromise, right, Sharon? You got to give a little and take a little.
You're exactly right. And that's always a learning curve. JL Cup Series is the title. Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
All right.
I made a few comments on this channel under that account. Yeah, you have made a few comments. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the standings are here in this series.
So for the East Series, it is still McKee up top now by 7 points. Reeves did bite into it a little bit. And you see the 3 wins in the 3 races are 2 for McKee, 1 for Reeves. Isaac Kitzmiller, I know he won the championship last year, and I said this to start the year, without getting a race win. And he's still right there. But if you're not winning this year with these 2 drivers in there,
yes,
it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But he's showing how that consistency gets him there. He's third, 3 top 5s, 16 points back. Then you got a little bit of a gap to Jackson McLaren in 4th at minus 27. Craig Pellegrini Jr., minus 30. Then you got Austin Vaughn from Mississippi at minus 43. Nate Moeller, minus 47. Landon Huffman, and 8th place, minus 56. And you see he's only got 2 races in. Toby Blanton and Quinn Davis round out your top 10. Michael Maples fell back into 11th. But here's where you see, if you're good, Carson Brown in 12th, even with this last rough race, in 12th with only 2 races. You got to be on top of your game. And Kitzmiller is. He's right there with him. But to be competitive for the championship, I think you got to get that first win, man.
A couple of things I do want to point out here, though. Max Reeves and Isaac Kitzmiller, exactly the same average finish at 3.7. And then also, if you go down a little bit and look at Landon Huffman, he's got a 4.0 average finish in 2 races. So he would be right up there with them had he run that 3rd race. It's going to be interesting to see if he can pull together and be in these other races throughout the season. But hopefully he'll race full time next year.
Well, and that goes back to that discussion we were just having a little bit ago. We saw it in years past where you could not run all the races if you were winning and be in contention or winning the championship. Now it's not that way because the depth is there where it's a little bit more. So I like that.
Okay. Let me take this down for a minute. Okay, let's get into some of our topics here. The number 18 continues its Nashville dynasty. The number 18 car, Joe Gibbs Racing, has owned Nashville in the 2020s, and this race reinforced their dominance. They've had multiple wins at this track in recent years. Reeves continues that organizational dominance. The takeaway, simply put, Nashville still runs through that number 18 JGR car. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I know the next category you got there is where I'll really chime in, but you do have, again, go back to Toyota, their racing development goes all the way down to the ARCA East and West, as well as some late model series, just like Junior Motorsports. So that's probably where you're going to see your consistent winners come from. However, we want to take a look at who else is there that will get noticed by contending with these top organizations.
Yeah, All Sports says, I like Isaac a lot. Seems like a great kid. He does seem like a great kid, and I'm glad he's racing in the series this year. We just need to see him go after those wins now. And he's going to need to if he wants to win the championship this year. Last year he didn't have to, but this year he's going to have to win. Okay, Jay, the rookie class shows strength behind that winner. Even with Reese dominating, the youth movement stands out. Landon Huffman with that 2nd place finish, Tristan McKee in 3rd, the local Hunter Wright in 4th. A strong showing from rising talent signals a deep and competitive pipeline in the East. And that's what I was getting at earlier. With more people being on the entry list and competing, I think that's a good sign for this ARCA East series.
I got to give a big shout out there to Hunter Wright. And I know in the preview show, talked about that of a local driver mixing it up when the big boys come to town. And this can be dirt track, asphalt, doesn't matter. A fourth place showing is actually very, very good. You look at two of the ones above him of Tristan McKee and Max Reeves. I mean, they are the top two coming in with wins and whatnot. So a fourth place finish there is outstanding.
It absolutely is. I agree with you, Jay. That was a great shout out. Okay, and I just think we've got a lot to look forward to here. Right now, Tristan McKee and Max Reeves, though, are your two top contenders here. McKee stays consistent in the title hunt. He's coming in as the points leader contender. McKee backed it up with another podium finish. The battle is on with Reeves. Continues stacking up finishes early in the season. He keeps the pressure on Reeves and others in the standings. He's another driver that has consistency and not just wins. It could define the championship this year.
And since All Sports All Day is back wearing his statistician hat, the East or the West last year, I don't remember which one it was, when it came down to the championship, it was a matter of who had the 8th or 9th place finish, because that was their bad finish, and that's what it was. And I think that's what you're going to see between Reeves and McKee. It's not going to be who wins the most races or whatever. It's that where is their worst finish? And it may only be as far back as 8th, because that's how tight they are.
Well, and the other thing about last season is that Max Reeves and Tristan McKee were racing part-time. They were coming in and winning the races, and Isaac Kitzmiller was coming in, top 5 every race. So it's a little bit different this year, though, with those guys running full-time now. He's got to have those wins. And All Sports All Day says, I'm pretty sure it was East between Kitzmiller and Reif. Huddleston had it pretty good at the West last year. That's true.
And I think you're right. I see. That's why we love you having you here, All Sports All Day.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So do you think that's what's going to define the championship this year between Tristan McKee and Reeves?
I really do. I think it's going to be a matter of that one bad finish. And when I say bad, it might only be 8th or 10th, but I think that's what it's going to be, is who has that one hiccup versus, they're both going to get their wins. They already have at least one each, and it's a 7-point battle. I think that's what it's going to come down to, is that hiccup.
Okay, now we talked about this one already. The local favorite, Hunter Wright, delivers again. He's a Tennessee native and once again showed up at his home track. He followed up last year's strong run with another top 5 finish. He continues to outperform expectations at Nashville. He's becoming a track specialist to watch every time the ARCA East comes to the Nashville track. And I would agree with that.
And again, I see that a lot in the dirt track sprint cars when they go into Pennsylvania. You got the Pennsylvania posse that even the touring series drivers like, even Carl Larson, if he shows up. You got to contend with these ones that know their local track inside and out.
Yeah, All Sports All Day says Reeves' bad day at the Rock being 8th may be a lot worse than I originally thought. Yeah, that was a bad day for him, and he was not a happy camper.
And like I said, that could be, even if he were to, win out, but McKee stays 2nd or 3rd, it might not be enough to gain those points needed.
Okay, we need to talk about this as well. Nashville's tough surface separates the field. The abrasive short track layout at Nashville Fairgrounds played a role. Tire management was critical. Long green flag runs emphasized car control and discipline. The takeaway, though, is that Max Reeves mastered it. Others struggled to keep pace over the full run. And we showed it with only 6 drivers on that lead lap there. I think it had more to do with the track surface and the tire management.
Well, and I go back to the old school, Memphis being one of them, when I saw Harrison Burton and Todd Gillen. The two of them were the masters of that, of run 2nd or 3rd for 75 to 80 laps. And when it came go time, you still had some tires left.
Yes, you got to take care of those tires on these kind of tracks. And again, this is the learning series. This is where they learn those things before they get up into NASCAR's ladder. So this is their opportunity to learn those types of things. Small field, big opportunities. With a compact field, 22 cars, this race gave younger drivers that chance to shine. It highlighted team execution and clean racing, which they did do that. And it puts more focus on track position and qualifying. Reeves absolutely capitalized from the pole, and yes, he did. Any other thoughts there?
No, you're right. That's exactly a key factor, more so probably in these lower tier series of qualifying, really a key factor.
Okay. We're going to move on now to the ARCA West Series. And we'll bring the winner up to the stage here as of now. Give me a minute here, Jay, if you want to say something as I kind of navigate my way around here.
Okay, I'll go with this one. The West was kind of the same for me storyline. Trevor Huddleston getting that victory. He was already the points leader. I think the competition is in trouble now because, again, I've been asking, where's this been? Not that he's had a bad year by any means. He had the points lead without winning. Now he's winning. You're in trouble.
Yes, it's going to be something to watch without a doubt. Okay, it's taken a while for my page to change here, so I don't have. You want to go ahead and cover the points? I don't know if we want to cover points before we do the schedule.
The race results.
The results is what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, so Trevor Huddleston was your winner in the number 50, winner by 1.897 seconds. Second place, this is a big one, Nicole Denton, rookie in the number 71 Jans Towing. Mason Massey, third. Andrew Chapman, fourth. Robbie Keneally, fifth. Man, I really thought Eric Johnson got fifth. I guess he got sixth. So then Haley Deegan, Keena Mitchell, and Mia Love. String of females there. That was through ninth. 10th, Tyler Tomasa. 11th was Alonzo Salinas. David Smith in 12th. Gavin Ray 13th. Julian DaCosta, in 14th. Joey East in 15th. And then Josiah Reum in 16th. And here we're looking at 11 on the lead lap, but it was a 15-second gap from first to 11th. And then 12th on back were 12 or more laps down, 12, 27, 37, 84, and 156 laps down. So I get the feeling that, what's he say? Because I figured this has to do with his ranking.
He said ARCA Night in America was awesome, but why did they have to make the West race end at 1:30? Well, it's 11:30 in California or Shasta, wherever that race was, Anderson, California. It's a time difference. I wish they could have started a little bit earlier, but because it was a doubleheader ARCA night, they had to run the East race first. That had to end before they could start the ARCA race. He says, I couldn't keep my eyes open the final 50 laps. I understand the frustration. I kind of had the same problem. Yes, but they could have had the East race start at 4 and West at 7. Yeah, I agree. I wish it would have been a little earlier.
Being that they did publicize it as such of the ARCA Night in America, I think they could have done a better job of getting it to where everybody could enjoy the full events. If you're on the Central or East Coast, for sure. I understand that.
Had to do though, Jay, with other activities that were happening at the track before the ARCA race.
And there's
the headliner.
Right. There's always a lot that go into this logistically. I'm just saying, being that they were promoting it as the ARCA Night in America, I think maybe they could have bumped it up like All Sports All Day said. But I also understand, like you're saying, Shan, there's a lot of logistics that go into each track and each event. Now you're trying to merge them and work it into one package deal. You know, got to give a little, got to take a little.
Yep. Okay, let's go into the, I'm sorry I couldn't get the race results up. For some reason it wasn't. All
right, you got the points one. I'll go over that.
I've got it, but I can't get it to come up. Is it up?
No. Trevor Huddleston likes that screenshot you got up.
Huddleston down.
There you go. Now maybe there. That's what it was. See, Trevor was hogging the spotlight.
He's not really complaining, but it was cool. Just a critique for the future. It's a good critique.
Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. I agree with y'all sports all day of can be improved upon.
Okay.
With that, Sharon's now got the chart up there, and there too, Trevor Huddleston is hogging the spotlight at the top with the one win now, has a 12-point gap over Mason Massey, who won the season opener. Mentioned Cole Denton. He's already got a win too, though. He had a rough race in between, though, and is 27 back, along with Haley Deegan in fourth. Here's maybe where I saw what I saw. Fifth in points is the number 5 of Eric Johnson Jr. at minus 29. Robbie Keneally trying to climb back up into this at minus 34. Sorry. Then is Andrew Chapman minus 42. Gavin Ray 52 back. Mia Love at minus 55. And in 10th is David Smith at minus 66. Now what you see here, though, if you look, 11th place, Julian DaCosta at minus 70. Those 11 have all made all 4 starts. You don't see anybody with only 1 or 2 starts mixing it up there. They're separating themselves. So that should be your group. Looking at it, I know I said when Mason Massey got that first win and led the points after week 1, I felt like it was going to be short-lived, still in contention. I will say that again. I expected Trevor Huddleston to come out a little stronger. What I didn't expect was Cole Denton. And I say that now of 27, 4 races in out of the, I believe the West Series has 11 races. 27 going to be a tough gap to make up, especially if Trevor is winning races.
Yep. Well, Cole has a race win, though, too. So that's on there. Haley Deegan and Cole Denton are actually tied with being 27 back. So that's kind of cool to see Haley Deegan making a comeback here in the ARCA West.
And here's the factor, and I said this in the East. Trevor Huddleston, 4 races, all 4 in the top 10. Massey and Denton, even though they have wins, they only have 3, as does Haley Deegan. 3 top 10s. That outside the top 10 finish is what's costing them.
Look at that average finish, 2.8 for Trevor Huddleston compared to 5.3 for Massey, 9.3 for Cole Denton, and then let's see, 7.8 for Haley Deegan. So yeah, interesting. It's going to be interesting. I think we've got more wins coming though from Cole Denton.
I think so too. I was actually surprised, as much as I expected it from Trevor Huddleston, to see Cole Denton mixing it up and coming so close there, if you will. Again, I say close. It was a 1.87 margin of victory, but in contention. And I think you're 100% right. We are going to see more from him. But if Trevor Huddleston isn't finishing outside the top 10, how do you gain points on him?
You're absolutely correct, Jay. Okay, now then, let's kind of talk about some of our discussion points here. It's a statement win in the championship fight. Huddleston entered Shasta as the points leader without a win, but that's over now. He extends his advantage over rivals like Mason Massey and Cole Denton, who are strong contenders. The takeaway here, consistency turns into dominance. Is the title slipping away from the field already? I'm going to say maybe, but I hope not.
I don't know if I'd say the hope not. I would say it's at least starting to grow. And you read it the line before. He was the points leader before he got a win. What happens when he starts winning? And that's what we're seeing now. But we could see Cole Denton, as well as Mason Massey, start picking up some wins. And there, too, the depth of that. You look at, I brought up the East. Haley Deegan, Eric Johnson, Robbie Keneally, Andrew Chapman, they are all right in there contending. So if they can start getting the wins, and maybe Trevor Huddleston has an off day and not get a top 10, close that gap and make it a little more competitive. But it is starting to grow to a runaway.
Yes, it is. And it's going to be interesting to see if he can maintain that for the entire season. Sometimes we see somebody dominate in the beginning and not be there at the end. We've seen that happen as well. We'll have to see. Trevor is pretty steady and consistent, though. He's going to be tough to beat.
That's one of those of you want to compare it to the top series of kind of like Justin Allgaier in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series.
Yes,
just absolutely consistent year in and year out, not week in and week out, year in and year out.
Okay, let's move to Cole Denton. He's showing title contender form. He finishes second and continues a strong 26 campaign. He's actively studying Huddleston's line and racecraft. It's a clear sign of a developing rivalry. I think Cole Denton is one of those guys that studies everything and walks away better for it. He's the student chasing the master. He's not there yet, but look out when he catches up.
And we'll see when that switch hits of the student becomes the master.
Yeah.
We've already seen him get one win, so it will be a slugfest when they start trading wins.
Now, All Sports All Day, I think you gave this race a 5 out of 10 at the beginning here. You want to explain for us why you gave it that? Your rating? Yeah, 5 out of 10 for the East, 5 out of 10 for the West. Tell us why you thought that. Okay. Mason Massey is the other driver. He stays in the hunt. He brought home a third place finish, keeping himself firmly in the title mix. He's quietly consistent, but still searching for that breakthrough win. Consistency versus dominance. Can Massey answer the call?
And this is where I got, again, when he got that first win early, to start the year, I said, well, that's a win. I get it. He deserves it. I'm not taking it away. Can he do it week in and week out? He hasn't been winning, but, you know, like you said, that quiet consistency, he is a lot closer than I thought he would be. So my bad. You showed me I was wrong.
And that's a good thing.
Okay. Absolutely. And it leads to some Truck Series attention we'll talk about later.
Okay, Rookie and Young Talent Watch. Notable performance deeper in the field. Kenna Mitchell had a solid debut showing. Mia Lavelle inside the top 10. Continued youth movement shaping the West Series. Next-gen drivers are gaining ground against some established names. Gaining ground may be all that they can do, though, this season, Jay.
Well, and that's what it takes too. I know in the recent years we've seen a couple of very standout drivers come in, dominate, win, move on, and up to the next series. Some of them, again, you got to see more of this top 5, top 10. And if this championship becomes a runaway at the top, I still love watching it because of what we're seeing here. And we've talked about it all night long. Driver development, some of these other drivers.
Okay, All Sports All Day says, there was no battle for the lead. There was passing throughout the field, but it never really had that edge of your seat feel. Not bad, not great. Probably won't remember in a year. So a 5 out of 10. And I think that's probably true for both of the series. He also says one day this old boy from New Hampshire is going to get to see his first West race. And I can't wait for whenever that day is. I think that'll be a fun day for you. All Sports All Day.
Yeah, honestly, for me, being in the Midwest, it was when they did the joint events, or I saw some of the drivers from the West when they started doing the crossover in the East Series. But Sharon and I have always loved that, the joint ventures.
Yes.
It was at Iowa Speedway. It was at Elko Speedway in Minnesota for a couple of years. I always loved those.
Yes, yes. And Jay, with regard to the Rookie Watch and young talent that's coming up, gaining ground is what this series is all about. And having a driver like Trevor Huddleston in the mix gives him a chance to get that short track master class at Shasta. It's the classic 0.375 mile bull ring race. Track position is everything. He It was a clean, controlled race by the leader, limited chaos, maximum execution. But you've got an old school short track racing driver that has perfected it. This is a chance for these other drivers that are gaining ground to learn from somebody like a Trevor Huddleston. And that's exactly what Cole Denton mentioned. He followed in his footsteps. He followed his racing and studied what he was doing so that he can become better. So to me, that's what this series is all about.
And that is what it takes. Obviously you're out there to win. You want to improve, but it is a matter of watching the one in front of you that is winning, studying them and learning from them that will make you better. So good on Cole Denton. And I know we got the interview with him. I think he is one that will advance quickly because of that technique and ability.
Yes, and I'm going to mention it here. It's going to be on the watch list as well. Sal was actually at the racetrack and did not a live stream, but he sat down with them in between the qualifying and the race and was able to talk with Jan's racing team, which included Cole Denton, Robbie Keneally, and another driver that she's working with the tires right now, but she's going to become a race car driver. And they're going to put her in the seat fairly soon as well. And Jan Quackenbush was there as well. So it was kind of a group interview in the hauler. And so if you haven't watched that yet, I would recommend you take a listen to it. All Sports All Day says, I remember watching my boy Derek Krause in the West races a week later when they re-aired on NBC SN. That's right. And they had the simulcast this week with it being on the free NASCAR channel, which I absolutely love that they did that. I hope they expand that even further. So that's true. All Sports All Day says polar opposites, Max Reeves and Cole Denton. Absolutely. Cole is a very, very gracious young man. And I really enjoyed the interviews that we've had with him so far. I really like Cole Denton a lot.
That's because you get these drivers from the East Coast, places like New Hampshire.
He's actually Cole Denton. Is it Alabama he's from?
That or Georgia. Let me see if
Tuscaloosa, or how did you pronounce that?
No, he's not from Tuscaloosa. I don't think he's from Tuscaloosa.
He's from somewhere around there.
Let me see if I can look that up. I was just kind of taking a shot at these guys. The East Coast being New Hampshire.
He says he's from Mississippi.
Oh, Pascagoula. That's right. Thank you, All Sports All Day. Pascagoula.
Okay,
that's right. You're right. You're right. He's the one from Pascagoula.
Okay, so he's from Alabama. He's an East Southern guy, and racing in that West Series and doing quite well. Okay. ARCA doubleheader night adds the spotlight. Race served as part of the ARCA Night in America alongside the East Series race at Nashville. Both the races on free NASCAR channel. I absolutely love that. It increased the visibility for regional stars on a shared stage. And I thought that was absolutely great too. Big stage, bigger statement from the West best.
And again, I think what their intent there was a great thing. As All Sports All Day, could have been done a little bit better. Maybe get it into the Fox Sport 1 coverage for that. If they really want to promote it as that, get it onto a national televised coverage for that race, or for those two if they do this again.
Yeah, I like that it was on a free TV service for those that can access the streaming services. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next Cup Series winner of the weekend, and that was none other than Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was back in victory lane and a title threat again. Elliott delivered a statement win, grabbing his second victory of 2026 and holding off one of the best, Denny Hamlin, in a late race shootout. After a quieter start to the season, this win signals Elliott is firmly back in championship form. You mentioned the Hendrick flip-flop. Elliott and Bowman are racing up front this season, and I like seeing that. and we'll go over the race results here for the series. But the takeaway, Elliott now joins Tyler Reddick as a multi-time winner this season, and his momentum is building.
All right, take Chase Elliott down there and bring up the race results.
Thank you. We're going to take that down. And I'm going to bring up the race results now.
You know, and that was something I heard on Sirius XM today. I hadn't really put that piece to it. You know it, but you don't really realize it, that Chase Elliott is only the second driver to have more than one win behind Tyler Reddick.
I don't have the results here. I want the results. Okay, here we go. Okay. Chase Elliott was your race winner. He gained 69 points this weekend. Again, 0.407 seconds for the win margin, and he led 87 laps. So you had Chase Elliott in first. He also had the best lap at 28.89. 28.89, let me repeat that. Denny Hamlin in second. Alex Bowman with a great top three finish. Tyler Reddick coming in fourth place. Chris Buescher, surprisingly, not a track that he's normally good at. This is his home track. He had that top five finish. That's almost like a win for him at his home track. Daniel Suarez with a nice sixth place finish. Carson Hocevar still in the top 10, finishing seventh. William Byron in eighth. Bubba Wallace ninth. And Ryan Blaney, a 10th place finish. I'll take it for Ryan Blaney. Not normally very good on the 1.5 mile tracks. So that was a win. Riley Earps had a good run with an 11th place finish. Eric Jones in 12th. Brad Keselowski, 13th place. Ryan Pearce in 14th. Austin Cindric, 15th. Connor Zilisch, one of the rookies, finishing in 16th place. Kyle Busch had that 20th place finish. Let's see. Anybody else we want to highlight here? Kyle Larson finished in 34th place. Christopher Bell, 38th place. We'll talk about those finishes. Joey Logano, 37th place. Those guys were out of the race a little bit early. Anything you want to say here, Jay?
Yeah, just looking at starting with the top 10, Chase Elliott. We talk about the Chase format coming back, consistency and whatnot. Yeah, this was going to fall into his wheelhouse. Chevrolet, Hendrick Motorsports especially, getting their hands wrapped around the new Chevy nose. They're going to start getting powerful and going toe-to-toe with Denny Hamlin. Big shout out there to Bowman. Going down to Tyler Reddick. Again, call it an off day. He's fourth. You know, I mean, he's going to be tough to beat if he can maintain that. What I looked at, though, was 6 out of the top 10 started in the top 10. You only had Chase Elliott from 14th, William Byron from 15th, Bubba Wallace from 37th. He had a practice crash. I went to a backup car. And then Ryan Blaney from 31st to 10th. So you had a big mix of that. Part of that was what happened on the track, but also, believe it or not penalties, but just chaos on pit road was a huge story from this weekend. And I can't see the comments yet. I got to get caught up here. I see you guys.
Yeah, he said Kyle Busch top 20. Let's go. And then Joey is really bad this year. Is Bell on the hot seat? Ooh, I hope not.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him on the
executing though. He's not executing like he should be.
I think I mentioned it earlier in the show. These two can't even buy a cup of bad luck because it's just horrible. Joey avoids the wreck on the track and then gets crushed on pit road. Bell didn't avoid the wreck, just got nicked, but it was enough to send his car sideways and then into the wall. So you take your lumps with it. It might put pressure on him for the championship because, again, of that inconsistency. But I don't think he's on the hot seat as far as a ride.
Okay. Okay, additional topics. Late race chaos defined. Oh, wait a second. We're not done yet, are we? We got to do
No.
the standings.
All right. So Tyler Reddick is your points leader. As it is right now, can't predict the future, but nobody has led from the beginning to the end of the regular season. Right now, Tyler Reddick has a very good shot of that. He's 109 points above Denny Hamlin. Chase Elliott now more. Yep, absolutely. Chase Elliott, and again, I think All Sports helped me out. 12th or something is his worst finish so far. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, both having wins. Chris Buescher, talk about consistency. No wins, but in 5th place. Carson Hocevar up to 6th. Ty Gibbs slipped a little bit. Another rough week. I hate to see that. Kyle Larson had a rough week and slipped. Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece, your top 12. The cut line area, 13th is Christopher Bell, then Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, and Chase Briscoe. Briscoe's at 242. Joey Logano is now out of Chase contention or position right now by 7 points. Briscoe's been back and forth in and out. Now it's Logano. Briscoe up a little bit at 242. And there, though, it's a gap of, not that it can't be made up, but from Joey Logano in 17th back to Ross Chastain is 19 points. Again, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if drivers are doing good week in and week out, it is. Shane Van Gisbergen, such a strong start to the season, has lost it. He's down to 19th now, 20-some points out of Chase contention. AJ Allmendinger, Zane Smith, Eric Jones, Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse, and Todd Gillen, your top 25. Going to be tough to work your way back in, and we see that, like I said, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, and Joey Logano been that in or out week to week.
Look where Kyle Busch is. He's going to have a tough time.
Bowman led more laps than Byron. Yeah, we'll get to that. We're coming to that, Jamie. I got some big things to say about that.
Yeah, let me. Who's stepping up and who's slipping back? Well, Chase Elliott with a win. He moved up a spot. That means that Ryan Blaney went back a spot, even with the 10th place finish. Chris Buescher up 2, Carson Hocevar up 2. Ty Gibbs slipped back 2, as did Kyle Larson. So whoever goes up, you got to have somebody going down. Brad Keselowski up 1, William Byron up 1, Bubba Wallace up 1, Ryan Preece steps up 1. Christopher Bell, he moved back those 4 spots that those guys moved up. Bad day for Christopher Bell. Daniel Suarez stayed the same. Austin Cindric up 1, Chase Briscoe up 1, Joey Logano down 2. Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen stayed the same. AJ Allmendinger up 1, Zane Smith down 1. Eric Jones up 4. He's your big mover of the week. He stepped up 4 steps this week. Michael McDowell stayed the same. Ricky Stenhouse up 1. Todd Gilliland down 3. There's your 4 points, 4 places that Eric Jones made up. Kyle Busch up 1, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Austin Dillon down 3. Riley Earps up 1. John Hunter Nemechek up 2. Josh Berry down 2. Noah Gragson down 1. Ty Dillon, Connor Zillage stayed the same. Alex Bowman up 2. Cole Custer down 2. Rough year for Cole Custer, but I'm glad to see Alex Bowman. He's got a very steep hill to climb here, but he moved up 2 spots this week.
And I believe he actually, being his was a medical, does have a waiver. I don't think it's going to matter or applicable, although he does have back-to-back top 3s. So I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat like everybody wants to put him for the past several years. But Sharon, you might need to put up your controversy sign here. Jamie wants to put another driver on the hot seat in Ross Chastain.
Oh, okay. He also says, this is interesting. Bowman has more laps led than Byron.
Yeah, that's one I don't understand. Well, I kind of do, but I kind of don't. when you talk about Alex Bowman, he's been on the hot seat from day one, if you will.
Yes.
Is he a flashy win every third race? No. Is he very consistent? Yes. Had a rough year to start the season. Then he was injured and had to step out of the car. But look at what he's done. Back-to-back top threes, one of them being at Talladega, no less. So I think we're seeing what he can do. I wouldn't get rid of him if I were Hendrick, and I know Ally is very high on him, has a lot of influence as his sponsor. So Chastain, that's an interesting one. Sharon, I'm going to let you chime in here real quick. What are your thoughts on Chastain being on the hot seat?
Well, I think if you're going to put Chastain on the hot seat, you got to think about Trackhouse Racing as well. Trackhouse as a whole has not really been doing well this season. So I don't think it's all on Chastain's back. I think that they're working on it. He's made several comments about that. But they're making some strides. It's like you take one step forward and two steps back. That's what's happening at Trackhouse right now. So they've got a hill to climb. I think they're struggling with that new Chevy nose. That's the other part of this that I think is not necessarily Chastain's fault, but they've got to figure it out if they want to compete. All Sports All Day says, I think Bowman will at least get next year. And he also says, I don't think Chastain is on the hot seat because all of Trackhouse stinks. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's not just Bowman. I mean, Chastain. I think that I think that there's a lot of blame to go around there.
All right.
Chastain for an aging Kyle Busch? I don't think so.
Well, I had a question I was going to ask our interaction here on the chat room. You ask us questions, we have to answer. I'm going to ask y'all, did Trackhouse let the best veteran driver they had go in Daniel Suarez? Because you see that now.
At this point, because he's doing
good. Exactly. So did they let the wrong driver go?
Well, I hope not. But I think it has more to do with that Chevy nose. Trackhouse is lateral. I don't think Busch would leave. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he would go to Trackhouse. I would hope not.
Well, again, the heavy rumors there go to Spire Motorsports, but they got Carson Hocevar and Daniel Suarez running real good. That would be Michael McDowell, if you will, the one on the hot seat there. But he, too, is still very solid. We'll get to Kyle Busch in a minute. I'm not ready to – Sharon will have to put up a bigger controversy sign than that.
Not ready to go to Kyle Busch yet. But we do have him on our list there. So
yeah, well, he kind of was the list.
Well, that's true. Okay, the late race chaos defines Texas once again. Texas lived up to its reputation for unpredictability. There were multiple incidents that wiped out some top contenders. Strategy swings shuffled the field. A late restart decided the race. Attrition played a major role, eliminating several top cars and opening the door for Elliott. Texas equals survival as much as speed.
The big thing for me there, and it's in that word attrition, and I said it earlier, it was pit road. Yes, the cautions on the track brought about some varying strategies, but all these teams know it. And I'll use Joey Logano's, for example. You had Cole Custer coming in. I think he checked up for maybe Ty Gibbs. I don't remember who the driver was. Coming out, Custer saw it, stopped. And stopping on pit road in the lane, probably not a good idea. Joey Logano got released from his pit. He's on the throttle, going to get in line and get positions, and just crushed the rear end of Cole Custer. That was after he had just avoided the on-track incident.
Yes.
But there were several.
He says, Trackhouse has been on the decline well before this season. Let's just skip Kyle Busch this week. And top 20, that's the only news about Busch. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Right. Well, tell you what, here in a few minutes, we'll inform you. No, the thing with me that everybody's on varying pit strategies, whether it be pitted early and don't need a full tank of fuel, the 2 tires versus 4 tires. I could not believe the chaos on pit road because of all that.
I agree with Jamie here. He says Texas is the track everybody loves to hate. It's a good track, unlike Phoenix. I've always liked Texas.
Sorry, Jamie. It's funny because we had a guy that used to host with us. He was anti-Texas in every way, shape, and form, whereas you're apparently against Phoenix, the way it sounds. So that's what makes this sport of racing great. Everybody's got 30, 40 different opinions.
I think All Sports All Day says, I think Phoenix is a cool design, but you're right, the racing isn't great. Yeah, they're going to have to look at it, I suppose. They'll come up with something. 2017 to 22, Texas gave me nightmares.
That was the time frame with Tommy. Yeah, Tommy was not a Texas fan in any way.
Well, neither was Mike.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Mike wasn't either.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot to talk about there.
Well, and that was funny because they're talking about now we got this spoon thing going on. Yeah, Tommy, you didn't take much to get him stirred up. Talk about Joey Logano or Texas, and he would go off.
Okay, let's talk about Denny Hamlin. He comes up just short. Hamlin finished second after battling for the lead late, but couldn't steal the deal. Takeaway, he's fast and consistent, but he's still searching for that next win in 2026.
Well, and unfortunately, everything we're talking about falls behind Tyler Reddick, who's just having a phenomenal season.
But this week it wasn't Tyler Reddick.
Well, but again, he stayed fifth, so where he's at didn't change much.
But Denny Hamlin was ahead of him.
When I look at this chase format, though, what we saw last year, Denny Hamlin had a great year, didn't win the championship because of the one-race playoff format. This year, if he stays with where he's at, I know he's probably not happy finishing second or third, but that in the long run of a chase format, that's going to pay off. Problem is Tyler Reddick's doing it a little bit better and winning races.
And now you've got another multi-time winner in Chase Elliott.
And this does play into his format as well. So, yeah, I think we're looking for good things in this chase.
Okay, Alex Bowman quietly building momentum. He brought it home third, giving Hendrick Motorsports a strong day with multiple cars up front. Hendrick takeaway. They're stacking results and becoming the team to beat. Again, they're learning how to drive with the new Chevrolet nose, which some of the Chevys, they haven't figured it out yet. Trackhouse Racing, for example. And I must have put this in a different place. There's a flip-flop at Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, you had that up a little further when we first talked about it. The past 2 weeks anyway, we see Chase Elliott getting the win, Alex Bowman back-to-back top threes. I don't know what happened with William Byron there at Texas. Kyle Larson still in the midst of his 32 or 33 race stretch now, and again, not sure what happened. He won the O'Reilly Auto Parts. He won at the high limits. Should have been up there in contention, and he said it. He's like, I lost it. It just the bumps or whatever, and he said, I lost it.
Yeah, you just lost it in that fourth turn. It's really interesting to see what's happening. Hendrick Motorsports, this is where the money comes in for these teams. And it doesn't matter with the next-gen car trying to equalize the field. If you've got the money, you can do the testing with the wind tunnel and time and sim time and everything else. Hendrick Motorsports has figured out, at least those two drivers have figured out this nose that other teams are struggling like Trackhouse Racing, who hasn't figured it out. So the Chevrolet nose, I think, is what's making the difference here. Who's figuring it out, who's not.
Well, and then when you look at it, an alliance team to Hendrick Motorsports is Spire Motorsports, and we've seen what they've been doing recently. Some people want to point the finger that it's Toyota information that made them good all of a sudden. No, it's not. It's not.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
Jamie, Jamie's got another good question here, Sharon.
Okay, let me switch back here. He says, Jamie says, which driver will be the biggest surprise to miss the chase? Larson, Bell, Logano, or Bowman? I think
Ooh.
Logano's going to miss it. And I think Bell's in that territory now, too. When you look at the Cup standings and how far back they are, let's see. Where is Bell? Logano is 291 points back. That's like 4 races worth back. Bell, where's Bell on this list? Bell is 235 back. That's about 3 or 4 races. Yeah, they're back quite a bit. Bell is still in the chase territory, but he's dropping fast. He moved down 4 spots this race.
Well, the question, the way it's written, which would be the biggest surprise, Bowman not making it, unfortunately, based on the season he's had, not a surprise. Logano, as a past champion and it being an even-numbered year, 2026, yes, but no, because, again, they just haven't been the Penske and Logano team of the past. Bell and Larson is where I'd get into the biggest surprise. Bell, again, JGR kind of started out the season in a slump, but has picked it up, just had a bad race. If Larson misses the chase, that to me would be world shocking, because you're talking about somebody that wins 1 out of every 3 races for several years and now is on a 30-some race stretch. He is in 8th and he has been dropping. I get that. But we've seen, especially again, you're talking Hendrick Motorsports, not bounce back and recover. Up until this past 2 weeks, Talladega Super Speedway, excuse me, not his forte, but this week at Texas, especially after winning the O'Reilly, that is shocking. So yeah, if that continues, excuse me, because as we cover in the preview, even during this stretch of winless races, he won a championship. You know, he was still top 3, top 5. This past couple of weeks haven't been it. So Larson would be my answer there.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be a shame if all 3 of them miss it, or all 4 of them even. Right now, I think Larson's a little more secure. I think Bell is a little more secure. Logano and Bowman are not secure right now. Larson and Bell still have a chance to turn it around and stay in the top 16. Logano and Bowman are playing catch up.
Yeah, and like I said, Logano has definitely been on a more of a downward trend, whereas Bell and Larson have just been the up and down inconsistent. We've only seen good flashes out of the 22 of Joey Logano so far this year.
Okay, moving right along here. Tyler Reddick stays hot, finishing 4th, continuing one of the most consistent stretches in the series. Even without a win, Reddick is arguably the most consistent driver this season.
Yeah, that's all I can say about that. He has had a phenomenal start to the season, and if that continues, yeah, you're going to be writing his name on the trophy before they get to Homestead.
I agree with that. And that's a shame. I would like to see it be more competitive. And we'll see if maybe over this next stretch, we don't see a little more competition there. Surprise stage winner. And one other thing I want to say there, it's hard to maintain that momentum for a full season. So we'll see if Tyler Reddick can do it. If anybody can do it at this point, I would say it's got to be Tyler Reddick that can make that happen. Kyle Larson certainly is not making that happen, and he's supposed to be one of the best in the business. So, surprise stage winner, Eric Jones stole stage 1 by staying out under caution, showing how strategy is still a huge factor. Riley Earpst also quietly improving. Teams willing to gamble are getting rewarded. Your thoughts there?
Well, and this is one of the position that Legacy Motor Club and John Hunter Nemechek's included in that, and he ties into a different story. Yep. They did what they had to do and gain those stage points, get the stage win, those 10 points, so that they can be in this discussion of possibly bumping Joey Logano out. But Riley Herbst, man, and I say this because he doesn't get a lot of attention, but he has been showing this year. I don't know if it's the pressure he feels of Corey Heim taking his ride next year, but he's been improving. I'll just say that, improving.
Yeah, moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Okay, rookie watch. Connor Zilisch impresses again, career best oval finish of 16th. Strong qualifying effort. The future is coming fast, and he's adapting quickly in the Cup Series. If he adapts and gets up there with some of these other guys, I think it's going to be very interesting in the Cup Series. Jamie's got a fun fact here. Cole Custer beat Tyler Reddick for Cup Rookie of the Year.
Man, all sports all day. Where were you with that stat? That's a good one, Jamie.
That's a good one.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Going back to Connor Zilisch, this ties back into Trackhouse. We know what kind of capability he has as a driver, and he's gone back and showed it in the trucks, in the O'Reilly Auto Parts. To see him getting that 16th place finish, the strong qualifying, but the team, the organization, you can have the best driver, as Kevin Harvick says, you can't make a slow car go fast no matter what your driving talent.
That's true. Just to touch on Jamie's comment there, Cole Custer, I think, is very much challenged by this next-gen car. He's one of the drivers that haven't quite figured out how to drive this next-gen car. I think he's excellent in the Xfinity Series. Wins races, championships, but put him in that next-gen car, and it's a struggle. So it'll be interesting to see how that progresses. He might be one of those drivers that ends up coming back and staying in the Xfinity Series. And I think that would be interesting if he does that.
Well, and he already went back once, and again, you see the talent, and that's why they made another attempt at it. You're right, Sharon. Something is just not matching up with this car that he hasn't quite been able to figure out. I wish I could write him a note and tell him what it is and help out.
Me too. Yeah, that would be great. Getting back to Connor Zilisch, though, I think that Connor Zilisch is one of these drivers that does figure things out very quickly. He's got that internal aptitude, I guess you could call it, of learning very quickly, observing and watching and picking up on what he needs to do. He knows what he needs to feel in the car in order to move forward with it. So he's on the opposite end of that spectrum. He's figuring it out. And I think once he does, some of these other drivers are going to be in trouble.
Well, and hopefully if they can trust him and what he's bringing to the table, that will help the whole organization, Shane Van Gisbergen and Ross Chastain as well, that Trackhouse can get back up to where they were. Because if you remember, it wasn't a few years ago, Chastain was in the final four of the championship hunt.
Well, it makes me wonder, too, how much better he might be if he was in a different organization.
Oh, I don't think there's any question there.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, that one, because there, too, we know it's a big jump from the O'Reilly Auto Parts to the Cup Series, but did expect a little bit more from him.
Just a little food for thought there. And I saw a comment pop up just as I left there. Jamie says, Connor will progress quickly in the second half of the season. Absolutely. We say that a lot, don't we, Jay?
Yep, that's always true.
The second half of the season will be better, without a doubt, for Connor Zilisch. Carson Hocevar can't convert the pole to the win after winning the pole and coming in hot from winning the last race and the Truck Series race. He did end up finishing in 7th place. The speed is there, but his execution still needs some refinement. And I would agree with that. What about you, Jay?
Well, I think besides, again, Tyler Reddick being as consistent as he's been, this past stretch certainly has been Carson Hocevar right behind him, as far as maybe not winning, but, just being on fire in the right, area. Yeah, you win the pole, good. 7th, not bad in that. Again, with all the strategies and shuffling around,
He's competing.
don't know if that truly reflects, but yeah, he's in there in contention every week now, in a short amount of time. And so, yeah, we'll see. This is one there again. Let's see how far that consistency extends.
If he can convert it from top 10s to top 5s, he's going to be in the conversation.
Yes.
Okay, now big names, bigger problems. Several contenders had issues. There were a lot of incidents mid-race, mechanical or situational setbacks. In other words, pit road mistakes, lost track position. The trucks handled but the Riley Series and the Cup Series, not so much. Christopher Bell's tough season continues after getting caught up in an incident while battling for the lead. Kyle Busch killing at his own momentum. He did have a crew chief change that started at Texas. We saw some improvements, but he kind of killed it at the end there. The takeaway, Texas exposed who can handle the adversity and who can't. Because we say it all the time, those drivers that can handle the adversity and overcome are the ones that win championships. If you can't do that, it's a lot tougher to win that championship.
Well, and I think it was All Sports All Day said didn't know why Kyle Busch was the story. I'll tell you why. Again, had a change. They showed a little bit of momentum game at Talladega with qualifying in his first top 10, I believe, of the year. And then you do the crew chief change. Qualifying was good. Race was solid. I'm not going to say great, but solid. And then you ruin it. And I don't remember where he was running when he got into it with John Hunter Nemechek. Talk about momentum.
Both of them.
Yeah, they ended up 20th and 21st, I believe. But I think they were racing close to the top 10. I don't know if it was in the top 10. My point thereof, this seems to be the Kyle Busch of old. You got things going your way, and you take yourself out of it. I understand his frustration, but you got to have some control. And the accident Go ahead, Sharon. Oh, okay. No, the accident itself, I would have called it a racing incident. I know everybody's got their own opinion. Kyle Busch came back with the SMT data that showed it was John Hunter Nemechek that came down. Either way, it happened. Don't ruin your race by then door slamming him. He wrecked out. You finished 20th right in front of him. You could have still had a top 15, if not better. And that's what disappointed me.
Yes, thanks for your participation, All Sports All Day. He says he's got to hit the hay tonight. Thank you, guys, and have a great week. P.S. SMT showed John Hunter came down on Kyle off 2, so not Kyle's fault. Then Kyle was a bozo in 3, and I agree with that. Good night, All Sports All Day. We really appreciate you and we look forward to having you back next week.
Absolutely. Appreciate it all. And you're right. That's what I said. Initially, I was like, yeah, you could call it either way. Based on the SMT data, I would have to say Kyle was right in that it was on John Hunter Nemechek, if you will. It was kind of a racing deal, tight racing. But that aside, okay, he came down. You were both still straight and racing. Now you're not. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Kyle says one thing and his actions don't support his words. That reminds me of another great driver that we saw in Cup. Tony Stewart used to do that. He'd complain about everybody blocking, and then the next week he blocks at Talladega and wrecks half the field. So, yeah, that's exactly it. And I call that, and different people have it at different times. I thought Kyle was smarter than that, but emotional intelligence. You let your emotions overtake your head on some of these things, and that's what this is what happens. Kyle's smarter than that. I'm disappointed that I'd like to think he's smarter than that. Let's put it that way.
And not to defend him, but earlier in the year, a couple of times that we did kind of give him that grace of, they're struggling really bad this year, and he knows it, and it's frustrating him. This is where I'm like, you got momentum going in your favor. Don't ruin it. That's what the timing of it was, just horrible.
Yes. Yes, I 100% agree. And I hope he figures that out and learns from it so we don't see that again. Okay. So, but handling adversity, we've said it so many times. Champions have to know how to overcome the adversity on the track. Martin Truex Jr. was pretty good at doing that. He could take a car that wasn't handling well and get the most out of it, and take it beyond what its capabilities really are. And that's another sign of a champion. They don't quit. They keep going and overcome those obstacles that pop up.
Well, and Kyle Busch had another incident, and I believe it was with Carson Hocevar, if that's where he was complaining. Again, I'm not saying he didn't have a complaint, but I got to give a shout out here for the second time. It was Derek Nealon, the spotter that came on, was like, hey, all this isn't helping the car go any faster, us improve. Knock it off.
Yeah, and Jamie might have a point here. He says, I think Kyle already gave up. And it might be, he might have given up already on RCR and he's already moving on to something else. But I think they gave him a crew chief that was helping him and moving him forward, and he just blew it. That's the thing that's a head scratcher, I think, for a lot of people.
And I don't know about this. This would be dependent on whether or not you think he's saying one thing and doing another, because he has made that statement. I'm all in with the team. I want to see it get better. I do believe that, and I think the crew chief change then was a part of that. Talked about he had good 5 races with Andy Street last year. So, but then I'm like, you get something good, and what do you do with it? You got mad over a bump, a little bit of a bump, if you will. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. It's still early. I haven't heard anything official whether he's going to move on. He is in a contract year, so that's obviously always the story. But if you noticed, I think he's staying kind of tight-lipped about that, not ready to make any decisions there. I think how they finish the year is going to determine whether or not he tries to find a different location.
100%, absolutely. But he's not helping his case with
and I agree exactly. That's where I'm at this week. Like, you didn't do yourself no favors.
All right, next topic here. Reddick signs a multi-year contract extension with 2311 Racing. Jay.
Yeah, no surprise there. Even if he hadn't had this phenomenal start, I think he was going to re-up with them anyway. The timing of it, I joked about it last week when we heard it on the pre-race. I'm like, 2311 wants to sign him now before he wins 10 more races in the championship, and they got to pay him more.
Yeah, so let's sign him up now before we get to that. That's a good point. I think it's great that he re-signed with 2311. I don't think it's any big surprise. But I was surprised by this next one, Jay. I had not seen this yet. Ryan Preece could be out of a ride?
So, well, this is, if you follow and I'm going to bite my tongue as I say some of this, the charter system, RFK was leasing a charter from RWR, Rick Ware Racing.
Oh, that's
true. Was supposedly supposed to be through 2027. Legacy said they bought it for 2027. They went to a lawsuit in court. That got settled. It is going to be after 2027, but that charter will then go to Legacy, which means that RFK is without one for that third team. And as Brad did, there's an interview out there with Brad. He's willing to pay for another one up to possibly $80 million now, but nobody's selling. There isn't one available to buy. And before I turn it back over to Sharon, that's my issue with the charter system and being permanent charters.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I hope they get another charter for Ryan Preece. He races very well in this series. I think RFK as a whole has been doing so much better. And I think Ryan Preece is probably part of that equation, as is Chris Buescher, as is Brad Keselowski. I think they're a good team together. and they've done really well. The one thing is I know that contract extension, there was another avenue I remember reading somewhere, and it's not coming to me right now, where they might be able to get another charter. Do you know what that might be, Jay? Because I read it somewhere.
I'm trying to remember exactly. If you remember the 3 Stuart Haas racing ones, but that was 2311 front row.
No.
And I'm trying to remember where the third. Well, there was some contention about that, and I don't know how that ended up. Jamie's asking, any idea when this contract lasts? Excuse me, what contract? We talked about a couple different things there, so I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I know
what
what
you're talking about, Tyler Reddick, or if you're talking about the charter deal.
Yeah, if you clarify that, we'll answer it.
Tyler Reddick. And if it's Tyler Reddick, they just said multi-year. They did not give us an ending date.
I believe I heard it is into the next decade, which would be at least what is this, 26, 5-year or more. It is a lengthy one, from my understanding. But yeah, the exact length has not been publicly released, but it will be into the 2030s. I do know that.
Yeah, and they don't have anything up for 27 teams yet. So
there's where, yeah, I like Jamie. I don't know about Penske. That one's always a rumor. The Haas factory, the sole charter, and that's where I said that one. Okay, the contract with Reddick, Sharon addressed. Yeah, you got some wild ideas there, but again, being he's still with Roush, Dodge just, as much as I would love to say it, Roush still has an interest, and Roush is Ford.
Yes, well, and I do. Yeah, I don't see Roush ever changing from Ford. No, RFK, man, that would be a head scratcher if that ever happens. He says, I picture Reese going to Penske, taking Cindric's ride in 27. Will RFK buy a Haas factory team, sole charter, possibly? Well, that's a possibility. You never know.
Yeah, that one.
We never thought Chip Ganassi would sell out, and they did.
Well, and as much as I know you like Cole Custer, Sharon, I think Haas Factory is one that you could offer enough money to buy them out.
Yes.
That's the one that I would say you could possibly, or Rick Ware Racing, because Rick Ware Racing would still have one once they let the one go to Legacy. That would be the other one, and it will cost you, though. That's the problem. Talking about Penske, if you're going down that road, and I hate to try and do this of judge one driver against another, but I don't think it'd be Cindric. I think it'd be the Wood brothers with Josh Berry.
Yeah, I would agree. And there's another team, but I would hate to lose the Wood brothers too. But even Haas, you hate to lose a team. But
absolutely, I don't want to see that either. But
yeah, it's an interesting. You posed some interesting questions there, Jamie, and thank you for doing that. We do appreciate it. But I do think I don't see RFK going to Dodge. I think that one is a definite no. The other ones maybe possibilities, but I really don't think Cindric's going to go anywhere. I think he's firmly in at Team Penske.
I don't know if Jamie was listening to Sirius XM and Dave Moody. That was one of the topics sometime last week. And yeah, Moody said the same thing of you never ever know for sure, but Roush going off of Ford, that would be something unbelievable.
While we're on RFK though, real quick, I want to just mention they're having a fan day. RFK Fan Day, May 22nd. They're still looking for that 27 charter. I guess that tied in with your question there too, Jay. But yeah, they're still looking for that 27 charter, and where that's going to come from, we're not sure yet. But time always tells the rest of the story. So we'll have to wait and see. NASCAR considering shorter spoilers on the super speedway tracks. Do they still need to look at that, Jay?
Absolutely. I think this is where we've talked about that of I don't see it in the engine package, but I don't know enough to say that wouldn't. I think a spoiler adjustment, something within the body of the car, make it where the being tucked in and drafting and having to have that, I think is the difference maker. At least explore it. That's what I like. They're talking to drivers, and I think this came from part of Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin.
Yes.
At least explore it and see, and maybe take that chance and do something to try and I'm not saying eliminate pack racing, but make it where a driver can get out of line and not get their doors blowed off and end up in dead last.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they need to consider it. And I hope they do make a change there. I'm not a big fan of super speedway races. I'm not a big fan of the big one taking out half of the field. I want to see them race on the track. And at super speedways, it's awful hard to do that. So it'll be interesting. I hope they look at that and get that feedback from the drivers, because I think they still need to do something with regard to super speedway racing. Real quick, the All-Star fan vote is open. So be sure to get your votes in for that. And Texas was a sellout, Jay.
I saw that.
Complaints about Texas racing. It's a sellout. He says, how about removing the solid plate under the entire chassis? I think there's a reason that's there.
They did, if you watch Larry McReynolds on Fox, for those that don't like Fox, All Sports All Day is gone already. They did a piece on that, and they did narrow it. Again, with this car, the way it is designed, and keep in mind, I am not a 100% mechanical person. Dad, I'm sorry. But there is a reason for that. I can't explain it because I don't fully understand it, but they had narrowed it. But I think that was as far as they were going to go with that aspect to it, because that all goes into keeping the car on the ground. And that's most important, because that's safety.
Exactly. So I don't see them changing that. I know when I first saw it, I'm like, man, they look like matchbook cars now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But there's a reason why they have it there, and it is a safety reason. So I don't see them changing that, especially on the super speedways.
Now, one thing I think that factored in, I'm trying to get my hands lined up with the screen here, is whether or not they can widen that and make the air come out more to the side versus straight in line, because that would shift then the airflow behind it, and it wouldn't matter as much of being tucked in that line. I think that is something they could explore. But again, I'm not an engineer. If I were an engineer, I'd be working with NASCAR.
Me either. But I do pay attention to what they're doing and try to understand it as best I can. Okay, we talked about the Texas sellout. They did have a good crowd there this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I know Texas didn't have some great races through that stretch that All Sports was talking about, the nightmares, and I used to joke with Tommy, but I never hated on it. And I think it's coming around to be one of the better mile and a halves. And again, this next gen car adapted to the mile and a halves better than what they anticipated.
Yes, it was a very big plus for that next gen car redesign. Okay, Catherine, a couple of preview things here and just kind of news items that I picked up on. Catherine Legg is going to be running at Watkins Glen International this weekend. And Mark Martin has an autobiography coming out in August, Jay.
I hadn't seen that about Mark Martin's autobiography. That'd be a good book to read. I had seen the Catherine Legg at Watkins Glen. I hope she does well. That's another one, for some reason, fans, people on social media, whatever, want to hate on. I just don't see it, and I wish her all the best.
Yep, me too. I think she's a really good, talented driver. I think that the rap that she gets is unfounded, and I think that she's kind of gone about her career in a little bit different way than we've seen other females come at it. But I think it's a good way that she's coming at it, and I think it's going to pay off in spades or aces or however you say that. I think it's going to pay off for her in the long run. if she decides to come full-time into the Cup Series. And I don't even know if that's on the plate or not. But I like the way she's going about it, and I think we're going to see some good things from her.
If I remember from that article, after Watkins Glen, she's going into IndyCar mode because she's going to the 500, and they're practicing the stuff. All starts up. So I think right now, I think she's doing a good, just getting all the seat time, all the driving experience that you can, and I think that is beneficial just to your career as a race driver.
And I'm excited about Mark Martin's autobiography. I think he's got a lot of things he can share with us. He's been pretty vocal lately, and I think part of that might be tying into the fact that he's got an autobiography book coming out. He wants people to know who he is, and they should know who Mark Martin is, because he played a very big role at Roush Fenway Racing, and he is also... I love it. Brad Pitt should play Mark Martin in the movie version of the autobiography. Did you see F1?
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know if Pitt quite makes the Mark Martin, but that's funny.
He does have a couple of laughy emojis there.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's fun. We like fun. So thank you, Jamie. Yeah, I do think that it's going to be an interesting autobiography. And although I didn't agree with him on, some of the things he said about the chase and everything, I think we came up with a good alternative or compromise. That's the word I was looking for.
You got to give a little, take a little.
Compromise, and I think it has caused the drivers to race a little bit differently. I think we are going to have some blowouts, and we're going to know who the champion is going to be before we even get to the championship race. And to me, that's the downside of this. But we'll see. It might change throughout the season. We'll see how that plays out. But I do like Mark Martin, and I can't wait to read the autobiography.
Trying to think there now. Jamie's got my head spinning of a shorter actor, and the only one I could think of was Martin Short, but that wouldn't be right. Quite fit in either.
Yeah, that would be hysterical. Okay, if they were doing a comedy, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that does become a movie. That would be a great movie for sure.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Okay. I think, was there anything we missed, Jamie, or I don't know if Hunter's still with us, but if there's anything we missed, please let us know. But otherwise, I'm going to kind of get into the watch list here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we covered a lot, obviously. Been a good almost 3 hours here, but always a lot of fun.
This week, so I think we're justified.
Right.
So anyway, I hope we keep the conversation. I kind of moved it along a little bit faster than usual this week because we had 5 races, and I knew that we had a lot to cover here. But let's see what he says. Mark Martin inadvertently got me in the 2021 CMS testing for the next gen car. How did you inadvertently do that? That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you got to explain that.
Yeah, we want more, Jamie. Tell us more here. Thanks. Watch list time. We got him off the hook when I mentioned the watch list.
Right. No, you gotta explain that one. Come on now.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool that Mark Martin got you into the 2021 CMS testing for the next gen car. I know you live in that area, Jamie, so I'm sure you know some of these guys.
That's right. Hanging out on the boat in Lake Norman.
Hanging out on the boats on Lake Norman. There you go. Okay, so it is watch list time. If you want to respond, we'll interrupt watch list time in order to hear your explanation. But our week always starts out with our Hot Topic Sound Off segments which is tonight. And it was a long segment tonight, but well worth the discussion. I thought we had some really good conversation tonight. Always 8:15 p.m. Central Time on Monday nights. We review the weekend of racing, and include the hot topics associated with each series. Then on Tuesday is an interview day. I will tell you again that Sal did an interview from the track, Shasta Speedway, this weekend, where he talked with Cole Denton, Robbie Keneally, Jan Qualkenbush, and a new racer in the up and coming. I'm trying to think of her name. All of a sudden, her name escaped me. Christensen is her last name, and I forgot her first name. But she's an up and coming driver here in the series that you want to keep your eye on. They're going to do some development with her. And so pretty good little interview from the hauler at the track in between qualifying and the race. So kind of an interesting twist on our interviews this week. So looking forward to that. We've got some comments here. So let me, the security guy thought I must be somebody to not ask for an autograph.
Go up one more.
There's more. Okay. It says, I walked in as he was walking out and just nonchalantly said, "Hi, Mark." And the security guy thought I must be somebody to not ask for an autograph. So, okay. So that was pretty cool. So thank you for sharing that with us. Timing
Yeah, that's awesome.
As they say, Jay says. So, and that was good timing. I had a similar experience at Daytona. The first time I went to Daytona, I wasn't with the media or anything. We were kind of newbies to the whole thing of racing, and kind of nonchalantly talked our way into places I don't think we were supposed to be, but it worked. And we got to watch the race from pit road, as a matter of fact. So, but that was back in the day when it might have been a little bit easier to do that. I don't think we could have gotten by with that in today's environment. But check out the At the Track interview with Jan's racing team this week. And then Wednesday is Race Chat Live Day. And I know Jamie and Hunter have been showing up in the chat room over at Race Chat Live. We really appreciate that. And the crossover is really good as well. So thanks for participating here and on Race Chat Live as well.
And if you're friendly with me, give Chris a hard time, and then just say it's Jay's fault.
Yeah, they're good friends. So, and then Jay and I put together the previews for the upcoming week of racing, and we're at Watkins Glen this week. All three series racing in the NASCAR side, but there's ARCA is the main ARCA Menards series platform is going to be racing at Watkins Glen this week as well. So 4 races coming up this week that Jay and I will be previewing. And then unfortunately, the fantasy report it did not happened this week. There was a family emergency on Taz's side, so we hope everything is okay. He had previously told me that he wasn't going to be available this week, so he says he'll do it. So with fantasy report, hopefully we'll be able to get it up on Fan for Racing. It was such short notice for me this week that I didn't get it up on fanforracing.com, but hopefully we'll be able to get it up on fanforracing.com this week. So if you don't see it on YouTube, check out the website fanforracing.com for the fantasy report. And then after the weekend of racing, we start all over again, 8:15 right here on Fan for Racing Radio. Tell us from the big mouth of the Mid-South. He'll know who that is. Okay, so that's our watch list for the week. And if I hear of any interviews coming up, I will let you know. Yes, Jamie, I'm with you.
We do pass it.
I hope all is well with
Yeah,
Taz.
we'll
and his
put
family.
Taz on the prayer list. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we apologize for not being able to give you any notification that it was happening. It just happened just before I was able to get I was getting ready to get everything lined up and ready to go when he told me he couldn't do it. So our prayers are certainly with the Taylor family there. Okay, so Jay, anything more you want to say before I go into my my monologue here?
No, there was some talk about the change up with Watkins Glen. I know they were talking about that, the weather being different strategy. I think it fits in well. We went from Talladega, Texas, 1.5 miles. We came out of the short track season. So I think a road course here fits in real well. So I'm looking forward to this weekend with all of the series as well as the ARCA Menards series. I still love Watkins Glen, one of the original road courses. There were only 2 or 3 back in the day. You referenced back in the day, I go back a ways. So
yeah, we go back a little ways. Okay. Also, before we go, we want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. We do appreciate each and every one of you. We especially like our people who are taking part in the live chat room during our live streams. That's a really big deal for us. That's exactly what we had envisioned for this show and for Race Chat Live. So your participation is a really big deal for us. If you don't want to participate, that's okay too. But we really like it when people chime in with their comments throughout the show. So thank you for doing that. And what more did you want to say, Jay?
I was just saying I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen, the road course. That was it.
Okay, so 5 races, 5 different storylines, and 1 clear takeaway. This season is gaining intensity week by week. From short track battles in Nashville and Shasta to high-speed chess matches at Texas, we're seeing drivers and teams start to define who they really are in 2026. Some are peaking at the right time, finding speed, confidence, and consistencies. Others, well, they're searching for answers as the pressure continues to build. And that's what makes this stretch of the season so critical, because what we're seeing right now isn't just about race wins. It's about momentum. It's about identity. And ultimately, it's about who's going to be in the fight when it matters the most. We've said it. It's hard to carry that momentum for a full season. We're keeping track of every twist, every rivalry, every breakout moment right here on Fan for Racing Radio. So until next time, let's keep our foot on the gas and your eyes on the championship picture. This is Fan for Racing Radio, and we'll see you in our next video.